Chapter 550. For 3 consecutive days, Lin Shun had been learning the Dark Lightning 1000-volt arrow. Previously, Lin Shun had learned the Purple Light 10,000-volt arrow, which was an AoE skill. This Dark Lightning 1000-volt arrow was a true extreme single-target skill. It was divided into 3 levels: Dark Lightning Leaf, Dark Shadow Lightning, and Dark Lightning Sky Piercing Arrow. Of these 3 skills, each was more terrifying than the last, especially when combined with Lin Shun's Thunder Trial and Dark Trial body. He didn't even know how powerful he could be. On the 4th day, Lin Shun started to make pills. This time, his goal was to make the Half-Emperor Breaking Pill and Mingyuan Heavenly Mansion Pill with level 7 ingredients. These 2 pills had the power to break through bottlenecks and help him condense battle chi and vital fortune. With his mid-7th level alchemy skills, not to mention his spiritual power reaching the peak of the Transcendence realm, refining these 2 elixirs was a piece of cake. On the 8th day, Lin Shun relied on the 2 quasi-7th level elixirs to forcefully break through to the 8th level, all the way to the mid-8th level before stopping. Lin Shun still had the 7-colored Holy Source, which was worth $1,000,000 firmament dollars. He would only be able to use it when he reached the peak of the Dharma characteristic realm. There was a higher chance that he would be able to advance to the Ascension realm. The Heaven Ascension realm's spiritual power was refined from the Dharma characteristic realm to the Heaven Ascension realm's spiritual power. It could withstand many disasters. Even if one's physical body was destroyed, one's spiritual power could live outside of one's physical body for a long time. It was a completely different level from the Dharma characteristic realm. On the 9th day, Lin Shun held the Sun Dragon pill that he had made and fell into deep thought. This pill was a top-grade physique refining pill. He had planned to save it for himself, but his physique refining pill hadn't reached the Emperor realm yet. If he took it, his body would explode. But if he didn't take it, he would be in danger as soon as he left City Number 2, which was full of experts. With the pill formula, I can make any pill I want as long as I have enough ingredients. But I, Lin, only have 1 life. If I give it to the Dragon Emperor, my strength will improve the fastest. Lin Shun summoned the Wanzai Qing Dragon Emperor and swallowed his rank 7 mid-low grade Yang Chaos Dragon Pill. In addition, Lin Shun also injected the 3 Holy Flame Seeds into his body. He found that the Holy Flame Seeds he bought in Firmament Tower did not have that kind of hidden consciousness. Only the Seed of Saint Fire in the spiritual state had such a weird will. Host has received 1,000 points of Azure Dragon Bloodline, 1,000 points of Purple Phoenix Bloodline. The Holy Flame Seed was furiously tempering Lin Shun's Dragon Emperor, and the 2 bloodline attributes were rapidly increasing. Roar! Roar! Streams of dragon chi surged into the dragon vein. 145,000, 150,000, 160,000. The Dragon Emperor's dragon power was rising at an unprecedented rate. In the blink of an eye, it had broken through 1.7 million dragon power points. The medicinal effect of a mid-grade tier 7 pill could only be described as terrifying. The Yang Chaos Dragon Pill contains pure dragon chi, which perfectly matches the Azure Dragon bloodline. It can be absorbed perfectly. I wonder if it can break through 2 million dragon power points. 2 million dragon power points. In the Battle Emperor realm, every 1 million dragon power points was a dividing line. 2 million dragon power points were equivalent to the early 2nd level of the Battle Emperor realm, and 3 million dragon power points were equivalent to the early 3rd level of the Battle Emperor realm. Although the numbers were not too terrifying, in fact, every 1 million dragon power points was several times or even dozens of times more difficult than the previous level. Of course, the destructive power would also increase by several times or even dozens of times. 99 million dragon power points were equivalent to the peak of the 9th level of the Battle Emperor realm. Below 10 million dragon power points was the limit of Battle Emperor realm. Above 10 million dragon power points was the realm of Saint Beasts. This seclusion lasted for half a month. The Wanzai Qing Dragon Emperor had perfectly absorbed the Yang Chaos Dragon Pill, and its pure strength stopped it too. 1,000,000 dragon power points. Its pure strength was comparable to the early second level of the Battle Emperor realm. Its combat power was close to the late second level. Other than that, after absorbing the 3 Saint Fire Seeds, the Wanzai Qing Dragon Emperor had officially transformed into the highest grade Wanzai Profound Azure Dragon. Its Azure Dragon bloodline attribute had grown to 500,000 points, and its Purple Phoenix bloodline attribute had grown to 250,000 points. In terms of divine ability, it was even stronger than before. Lin Shun came out of seclusion and returned to the mission hall. He arrived at one of the mission halls in Main City No. 2. After randomly selecting an expert, he purposely patted the expert's shoulder and activated the God-Stealing Omen talent. Consumed 2,000 talent points. God-Stealing Omen stolen. 300 Heavenly Tao points. Damn, only 300 points. Lin Shun exclaimed in his heart. What a waste. The God-Stealing Omen talent could only be used to steal from those with stronger cultivation. If he used it carelessly, he might even lose all his talent points. The expert who was patted on the shoulder glared at him angrily. He laughed awkwardly and said, "I'm sorry. You look like the criminal who peeped at the female bathhouse last night. I accidentally mistook you for someone else." After testing out his talent, Lin Shun flipped through the missions in the hall. The moment he started searching, he found the most dangerous missions. Look for the Shura battle armor in the 9 Shura tombs, a high-level secret realm that is about to open. 1 battle armor can be exchanged for 10,000 firmament coins. There are estimated to be more than 200 battle armors in the 9 Shura tombs. This mission is extremely dangerous. It is recommended to form a team. When he saw the 9 Shura tombs mission, Lin Shen's heart skipped a beat. Before he could accept the mission, a monstrous killing intent locked onto Lin Shun. The surrounding experts were so shocked that they quickly moved away. Lin Shun turned his head to look and laughed mockingly. The silver-robed man's angry face caused the surrounding experts to keep quiet out of fear. He was Long Qi, who had fought with Lin Shun previously. Outside of the 9 prefectures, there was a vast 1,000 realms whirling. However, among the 1,000 realms whirling experts, it was not comparable to the human race's sacred boundary. It was said that above the sacred boundary, there were countless human civilizations in the God realm. The God realm could create billions of lives with a single thought, creating civilizations and worlds. In the Tianchu River of the sacred boundary, there was a vast star field. A continent floated in the sky, and a sacred mountain towered in the sky. At the peak of the sacred mountain, 2 girls sat obediently in a white jade pavilion. One of the girls asked curiously as she crossed her fair and delicate legs, "Grandpa, you haven't finished the story you told me previously. How many geniuses are there in the God realm?" The white-haired old man lovingly stroked the girl's hair, revealing a look of reminiscence. It is said that there are 10 geniuses in the God realm. Each one of them is the hope of continuing the human race's civilization for 100 billion years. How do the geniuses in the sacred boundary compare to the geniuses in the God realm? Can my sister go to the God realm? The eyes of the other girl in white flashed. The old man laughed. Compared to the most ordinary geniuses in the God realm, your sister is still very far away. How can she be compared to the 10 geniuses? In the early years, there was a legend that spread from the God realm. The God realm once gave birth to an astonishing genius, and the God realm once prophesied that this genius had the ability to overturn the future of the God realm. The old man was very engrossed in his story, causing the 2 girls to look forward to it. They anxiously asked, "Then, what happened after that? What happened to the 11th genius?" He became a meteor, a real meteor. He was only born in the God realm for a moment, and then disappeared forever. There were experts in the sacred boundary who said that his existence threatened the God realm, and the God realm did not allow his existence. There were also prophesied that he would return and overturn everything. Of course, these are only rumors. Perhaps this genius never existed, and is only a legend that was made up. The 2 girls felt that it was a pity, but they still did not give up. Then, does the 11th genius have a name? Name? The white-haired old man was startled. He frowned and thought for a long time before muttering to himself. I think he is called Lin Xingchen. Chapter 551. Then, great-grandfather, what's the deal with the sacred boundaries, sacred prison? The two little girls seemed to be interested in everything in the sacred boundary, exuding an endless thirst for knowledge. Ha! The sacred boundary has 18 layers of sacred prison, each layer as high as 100,000 miles, imprisoning countless sinners and evildoers. They are all the most vicious people in the sacred boundary, and no criminal has ever been able to escape. But hidden within the sacred prison is the 19th layer of sacred prison, imprisoning the most terrifying criminals in the sacred boundary. They are all existences who have taken countless lives with their own hands, and each of their hands is stained with the blood of billions, or even trillions of lives. They are the most terrifying sacred realm humans in the sacred boundary, and they're also the ones who are most likely to enter the immortal realm and become gods. The two little girls had goosebumps as they listened. The little girl in white clenched her teeth and asked, "Then why are they imprisoned? Can't they do justice for the heavens?" Because they are very powerful, so powerful that even the higher-ups of the sacred boundary do not want to ignore their existence. In this world, there will always be strange creatures, and some races are powerful enough to covet the sacred boundary of the human race. The 18th layer of sacred prison is the entrance to the plane where a strange race is imprisoned. The criminals imprisoned there have to fight with those strange creatures all the time until they die. The white-haired old man's expression was a little serious as he talked about this. Using the power of the criminals to suppress the rebellion of the otherworldly races for the higher-ups of the sacred boundary is not a solution to the root of the problem, so it is not advisable. Therefore, the incident that shook the sacred boundary a long time ago happened. The sacred prison was breached by a mysterious creature, releasing many criminals from the 19th layer of sacred prison, and that creature even took away the most powerful criminals. Sigh. The sacred boundary is not peaceful now, and it will become the center of the storm sooner or later. Firmament Tower, Mission Hall of City Number 2. Thousands of experts stood there, dumbfounded as they stared at Long Qi, who was seething with anger. Lin Shun, you still dare to come to City Number 2? Why can't I come? Are you jealous of my good looks? Or is this main City Number 2 owned by your Long Qi family? Inside the mission hall, Lin Shun and Long Qi were in a tit-for-tat confrontation, causing many experts to twitch their mouths. What kind of deity was this kid? He actually dared to provoke Long Qi. He was ranked 3rd on the War Emperor leaderboard in the 2nd main city. Lin Shun, you're not convinced? F***CK. Why don't you try glaring at me again? If you have the guts, let's go out and train alone. If you're afraid that I'll bully you, I'll give you a hand and a butt. What? Do you dare? Long Qi. What the F***CK? Some of the battle emperors who had been suppressed by Long Qi were shocked. F***CK. Who's bullying who? A 5th-level combat emperor who had been famous for tens of thousands of years was actually threatened by a brat who had just entered the city. Judging from his age, it seemed like he hadn't even reached the combat emperor realm. A Yuan venerate fighting a 5th-level combat emperor? One hand and one butt. Crazy. Lin Shun raised his middle finger and said disdainfully, "Don't talk nonsense. Be straightforward. Are you going to fight or not? Last time, I thought that your blood demon doppelganger was too poor. This time, you'd better bring your spirit storage ring. The price of my attack is very expensive." Long Qi's facial muscles twitched violently a few times. His face was twitching, but he didn't dare to accept Lin Chen's challenge. He didn't dare. The blood demon avatar had been completely suppressed by him in the previous battle. Even if he used his real body to fight, Long Qi might not be a match for this brat. That piercing sky finger art had directly smashed his doppelganger into nothingness. And the strangest thing was that this brat had appeared in main city number 2 in just half a month. He was still full of energy. He was completely fearless. It was obvious that he wasn't afraid of Long Qi. Lin Shan knew himself very well. He no longer had the innate talent of a god slayer. If he encountered a third-level combat emperor, he would have to use his full strength. If he were to encounter Long Qi outside the city, he would either have to run or bluff. The more arrogant he was, the more his opponent wouldn't dare to act rashly. These old combat emperors who had lived for tens of thousands of years cherished their lives more than the other. Although they were fierce and domineering, they might not be willing to fight to the death when they encountered a fatal crisis. F***CK, is this for real? That Long Qi can actually be bullied by others one day. Oh my god, what kind of deity is this little brother? Even Long Qi doesn't dare to accept the challenge because of him. Hey, he should be a Yuan venerate, right? Even the family of a god's descendant wouldn't dare to treat Long Qi like this, right? Seeing that Long Qi didn't make a sound, many sensitive experts were even more shocked. They looked at Lin Shan with shock and disbelief. Lin Shan even walked in front of Long Qi and patted his face. Why aren't you making a sound? Say something. Are you mute? Pa! Pa! The sound of the slap on the face made many experts' eyebrows twitch wildly. Who in the entire number 2 main city would dare to disrespect Long Qi like this? Kid, don't bully people too much, Pa. The crisp sound of the slap rang out as the burning palm print ruthlessly landed on Long Qi's face. Lin Shan smiled domineeringly. So what if I bully you? Are you not convinced? Let's go out of the city to train. Long Qi looked at the young man in front of him in disbelief. His hands trembled as he spoke. You, Pa. Another slap. Let's go out of the city to train. Silence, a deathly silence. A dignified 5th-level combat emperor, one of the top 3 on the combat emperor list in number 2 main city, had been slapped twice by a Yuan venerate in public. Lin Shan's words were still driving people crazy. Let's go out of the city to train. Long Qi's face was sinister and ferocious. He put on a fake smile and actually laughed sinisterly. Very well, Lin Shan, you are courting death. I, Long Qi, would not rest until you die. Lin Shan rolled up his sleeves. If you want to say it, then say it. Why are you retreating? Hey, don't go. Seeing Long Qi actually leave the mission hall after being defeated, all the experts couldn't help but sigh in their hearts. Ruthless. Peerless ruthless. This was definitely a peerless, ruthless person in the last tens of thousands of years in the number 2 main city. A Yuan venerate beating a 5th-level combat emperor until the other party had no temper. What's wrong with people these days? I already gave you a handicap of 1 hand and you didn't hit me. It's so boring to be handsome and invincible. Lin Shan shrugged. Even if he didn't slap Long Qi a few times, this person would already not rest until he was dead. He might as well take him down a notch earlier. After accepting the mission of collecting the Azura armor, Lin Shan swaggered off. All the experts stared at his back with different expressions. Damn it, Long Qi called this kid Lin Shan. I have to remember this. The next time I meet him in the outside world, I definitely have to take a F***king detour. Long Qi, this old bastard, has never been at a disadvantage. He didn't even dare to accept the challenge after being slapped a few times. This kid is definitely not simple. He can't be provoked. He definitely can't be provoked. Many experts made up their minds and seriously memorized Lin Shan's appearance. If they met this guy outside, they definitely had to take a detour. Chapter 552. Those who had the guts to stay in city number 2 were mostly at the 8th-level Yuan venerate realm or above. They were either Yuan venerates or half-step sovereigns from their own organizations. Basically, they were the elites of the elites and had been in Firmament Tower for a long time. Some Yuan venerates who wanted to curry favor with Long Qi immediately followed Lin Shan and acted as Long Qi's informants. Lin Shan wasn't a brute. He wouldn't dare to leave city number 2 after provoking Long Qi. He sneaked into a few alleys and made a few turns like a ghost. After evading many informants, he put on a disguise and a cloak and used the illusion rune. The 3 clones split up and left in 3 different directions, attracting many informants. Lin Shun left for the east gate of city number 2. After leaving the second main city, Lin Shun crossed the blue sea and headed towards the extreme west of the northwest region. The Azura's 9 tombs would appear in the extreme west 3 days later. When the time came, it would attract a large number of battle emperors from city number 3 and city number 2. The Azura's 9 tombs were the tombs of the Azura race. There were many tombs of the Azura race in Firmament Tower, but each one was extremely dangerous. Lin Shun wasn't going to the Azura's 9 tombs just for the mission. It was more likely that Yin Qinyun had told him that there was an opportunity to become a martial emperor in the Azura's 9 tombs. The Azura race's cultivation method was rather extreme. It was said that they would seal their descendants in a certain space and kill each other after they reached a certain stage. The few Azura race members who survived in the end would become the strongest of their generation. The Azura's 9 brilliance transformation that Lin Shun cultivated was an evolution of the Azura race's cultivation technique. The Azura race's cultivation method was similar to how humans became martial emperors. If they didn't succeed, they would die. Outside the Firmament Tower, many things were waiting for him in the spiritual state. There were also several fake god families eyeing him covetously. Inside the Firmament Tower, there was also Long Qi, a powerful 5th-level combat emperor. Lin Shun had to step into the combat emperor realm as soon as possible. There was also the inheritance of Imperial God Mystery Dragon number 47 waiting for him to unearth. The Azura's 9 tombs mystic realm was extremely important to Lin Shun. 2 days later, in the extreme west of city number 2, 10,000 Abyss Stream. Under the continuous rise and fall of the abyss, the 9 caves connected into a line, exuding a profound and ancient aura, the strongest aura of the world sleeping within. Lin Shun used the Azure Dragon Possession and used the Azure Dragon Vanishes shadow to eliminate his own aura, hiding in the dark. This time, there are at least 100 battle emperors. Damn it, when the time comes, won't it be a war between 100 battle emperors? F***CK. Lin Shun narrowed his eyes as he looked around at the many obscure auras in the void. Now that the Azura's 9 tombs had appeared, even the battle emperors from the 3rd and 4th cities had come. Boom! 3 streams of qi streaked across the sky, and the 3 figures with the strongest battle qi revealed themselves. One of them was Long Qi's real body. The other 2 were not from the 2nd city, but their auras were not any weaker than Long Qi's. They were also battle emperors of the 5th layer and above. The opening of the Azura's 9 tombs this time was filled with all kinds of people. Even the fake god families had come, and almost all of them were battle emperors. There wasn't even a single half-step emperor. Obviously, for a secret realm of this level, without the strength of a battle emperor, entering it would be suicide. Boom, boom, boom. 9 pillars of light crossed the sky, illuminating the sky. The Azura's 9 tombs had opened at the same time. An eerie and cold aura was awakened from the tombs, as if it was warning all living beings that this place was inviolable. Swoosh, swoosh. All the battle emperors turned into shadows and rushed into the tombs. Lin Shun didn't say anything. He activated the 9 tribulations' eye and the purple golden pupil and scanned the 9 tombs. Among them, the 9th tomb's aura was the most dangerous. However, the luck and fortune it contained was 10 times or even 100 times stronger than the other 8 tombs. Long Qi has also entered the 9th tomb? Damn it, fortune comes from danger. Let's fight. Isn't it just a bunch of battle emperors? Hammer. Let's hammer. Lin Shun leaped into the air and entered the most dangerous tomb, the 9th tomb. Inside the tomb, there was a group of ancient mountains so tall that the peak couldn't be seen. There were dilapidated halls all around. In here, even a high-level battle emperor's senses would be suppressed. The range of detection was extremely small. There were colorful light balls floating in the air. Lin Shun picked them up, and his attributes skyrocketed. Host has received 8,650 points of blood essence, 1,500 points of rune energy, 8,900 points of battle aura essence, 1,200 points of heavenly Tao, 1,250 points of talent points, 19,500 points of blood essence. After collecting all the attribute light balls, Lin Shen's blood chi energy attribute value skyrocketed. Most of these attribute light balls were mainly blood chi energy. Activating his purple gold pupil, he could vaguely see a pair of scarlet eyes hidden in the dark. There's a living being hiding in the tomb. Lin Shen felt a chill run down his spine. He held the 5 dragons' imperial spear and prepared for battle. Boom! A beam of light rose, and the living being hiding in the dark left quietly. Lin Shen turned around and saw that a high-grade treasure had appeared. Sister Shui, a treasure has appeared here. Just as he finished speaking, Lin Shen collided head-on with the 3 figures who were flying through the fog behind him. Both parties looked at each other and were stunned. Ha ha ha, it's you, brat. You're courting death by barging into hell. Heartbroken Red Knight. The other party burst into laughter and pulled out a saber from his waist. The saber aura split the river in waves, and a streak of red flashed across the void. Lin Shen took a step forward and turned into a moonlight shadow. The blood-red light split 10 mountains in half, and his aura was overwhelming. 2 of the 3 people were from the Jian family that Lin Shen had encountered previously. They were the descendants of the false god realm battle emperors. Who would have thought that a Yuan venerate like you would dare to barge into the Azurakan 9 tombs? You're courting death. Sword Chi soared into the sky as the other false god descendant activated his movement technique and surrounded Lin Chen's other escape route. Lin Chen's eyes turned serious. Although the 3 of them had just entered the battle emperor realm, their actual combat strength was terrifying. If they released the power of their bloodline, even a 2nd-level combat emperor would find it difficult to deal with them. The danger of the 3 of them working together was self-evident. Lin Shen flapped his purple phoenix wings and turned into a beam of moonlight. In a flash, he appeared behind the young man in white who had pulled out the saber. What? How can you be so fast? The saber turned around and slashed back. The aura swept across the sky and split the mountains. However, it hit nothing. The war spears swept across the land and hit the waist of the young man in white. The terrifying force combined with the battle chi of the heavenly calamity invaded his body, causing blood to flow out from the corner of his mouth. Bang! The young man in white was swept away like a meteor. He grabbed the dozens of attribute light balls that the other party had dropped. 10 rays of sword light appeared and pierced towards Lin Shen. 10,000s of feet-long cracks appeared, and the sword aura soared into the sky. The 5 dragons' imperial spear spun furiously and smashed down. Lin Shen, who had blasted away a ray of sword light, rushed out of the encirclement. He was not afraid of the other party's attack at all. Ha ha! You can't even stop me, a Yuan venerate. I'll give you 2 words, trash. Lin Shen's wild laughter resounded in the tomb. The 2 false god realm descendants of the Jian family turned pale. Chapter 553. He was now a mid-stage, 8th-level combat emperor. Even if he didn't use the 5-layer transformation, his speed would still surpass many low-level combat emperors. Don't be careless. Use the power of the divine pulse to attack him. This person is not simple. The plain-clothed lady scolded coldly. These 2 idiots were led by the nose the moment they met. How could a Yuan venerate who dared to enter the 9 Azura tombs be simple? You descendants of fake gods dare to call yourselves divine pulse? Lin Shen didn't say anything. He activated the 5-layer transformation and temporarily stepped into late-stage 9th-level combat emperor. He was only 1 step away from becoming a half-step emperor. He was 1 step ahead and activated the Phantom Rune. His doppelganger held the Myriad Star Thunder Fury bow and pulled the bowstring to its limit. Battle Chi turned into arrows and shot out hundreds of lightning arrows. The plain-clothed woman gracefully turned around, drew her bow, and shot out a scarlet arrow that could pierce through the stars and break the moon. A single arrow broke through Lin Chen's 100 arrows. Bang! 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 The arrow shot out wildly. The plain-clothed lady's expression was solemn. Her archery skills were outstanding among her peers. Lin Shen was actually able to block her attack as a Yuan Venerate. He was completely out of the ordinary. A mid-grade 7th level battle bow. He can actually control a battle weapon of this grade with the strength of a Yuan Venerate. The plain-clothed lady was startled and took in a cold breath. A battle weapon of this grade would be considered top-notch even in the God family. Divine Pulse, Blade of Judgment. Divine Pulse, Eternal Night, 1,000 Swords. Rumble. The green saber light was as long as a crescent moon and slashed towards Lin Shen. The light that could split the sky and earth illuminated the sky. It turned into thousands of sword lights that shredded light rays and shot in all directions, sealing off all paths of retreat for Lin Shen. This was completely forcing him to take the attacks of the two people head-on. This move had activated the power of the bloodline and was also a mid-grade purple-level secret art. Its power was far beyond a first-level combat emperor's domain. These two moves are equivalent to a mid-grade second-level combat emperor's ultimate skill. I can't hide it anymore. Dragon Emperor, attack. The 10,000-meter-long Azure Dragon Emperor's body appeared. His head was raised high, and his dragon claws were burning with purple flames and green light. As he waved his claws, 8 dark green purple flame dragon blades whistled through the air, carrying a pure power that was as heavy as 10,000 mountains, and smashed the two's most powerful attacks head-on. The spinning purple flame cyan blade sliced through the air, tearing apart their battle aura defenses. Blood splattered across the sky, and a large number of attribute light balls and several purple crystal treasure chests rolled down. Both of them were descendants of the false gods and combat emperors, so the attribute light balls they dropped were extremely high. What Lin Shen didn't notice was that when his everlasting green dragon emperor was born, the mysterious creature, hiding in the dark, suddenly trembled. Its beast eyes stared fixedly at the pair of purple phoenix wings on Lin Shen's dragon emperor's back, as if it saw something unbelievable. Dragon travels 1,000 miles. The plain-clothed woman coldly shouted and drew her bow to shoot an arrow. The arrow overflowed with endless fragmented light and turned into a red light golden dragon. The arrow shot out a dragon's radiance explosively. Ultimate moment. Brilliant demon worships the heavens' dark lightning leaf. Lin Shen and his clone, who had activated the ultimate moment, fiercely thrust their spear forward. The spear's radiance rushed to the sky, piercing through the entire sky. The clone pulling the myriad star Thunder Fury bow was even more tyrannical. His entire body transformed into Dark Calamity and Thunder Calamity battle physique. More than 70% of his battle aura was condensed on the arrow, and a wisp of dark lightning turned into a flying leaf's afterimage, flashing above the blue dome of heaven. The two ultimate skills collided with a loud bang. The plain-clothed woman's dragon travels 1,000 miles exploded, and fragmented light shot down from the sky. An afterimage flashed, and the Earth Calamity and Wind Calamity battle aura crisscrossed, holding a blade and slashing wildly. 1,000 desert soul light. The hurricane of blade chi that covered the sky and covered the earth furiously rolled out. As it swallowed all the fragmented light, the sharpness of the Nethermoon heavenly saber even ground the incomplete golden dragon into nothingness. Lin Shen's two clones held the myriad star Thunder Fury and the Nethermoon heavenly saber. At the ultimate moment, the superimposed quintuple transformation aura caused the two figures to be like the sun and moon that separated heaven and earth, intimidating the 8 desolates. It was so strong that even the plain-clothed woman, who was at the early stage of the first-level War Emperor, felt a lingering fear in her heart. She wanted to use her movement technique to escape, but she was stopped by the dark lightning arrow radiance and the ghost god repelling saber radiance that shot out in succession. Extreme Palace Water Light. A beam of sword radiance that was like a polar star tore through the universe. breaking through heaven and earth as it flashed. A bit of cold light arrived first, followed by a sword that split the sky. The white-clothed youth was being suppressed by the Wanzai, Qing Dragon Emperor. This water-moon sword radiance chopped off his left arm, and when he turned pale with fright, two grayish-white talismans fell from the sky. When they exploded, they froze a large area of space, sealing the two people's movements in the void. A golden spear shadow lingered around the five-colored dragon Qi. It rotated at an extremely fast speed from the sky and smashed down in an instant. Bang! The tip of the spear smashed into the white-clothed youth's shoulder, causing blood to spurt out. For the first time, his expression revealed the fear of death. "No, don't kill me. I can give you a large amount of firmament dollars. I'm from the Jin family, and I've just become a combat emperor. I don't want to die. I still want to see my deity father. Don't kill me, and I'll give you everything, okay?" The white-clothed youth wailed in despair. He was really scared. The space around him had been sealed and froze. He couldn't even use a trace of battle chi. He was like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. "Die!" Lin Shan didn't say anything. He pierced through the youth's life-saving weapon with his spear and blasted him into nothingness. Lin Shan wouldn't hesitate to kill anyone from the fake god family. The Wanzai Qing Dragon Emperor raised his claw and smashed the other gray-clothed youth into pieces. Today, two of the fake god descendants who had become combat emperors had fallen at once. Level 5 slow rune, so powerful. I only used less than 20,000 points of rune energy to kill the two of them. Lin Shan sighed in his heart. The slow rune produced by 20,000 rune energy was completely different from the level 5 slow rune and the level 4 slow rune. The level 5 slow rune not only slowed down the space within a certain range, but it also slowed down all living things within the space. If not, Lin Shan wouldn't have been able to kill the two of them so quickly. He grabbed the 5 purple crystal treasure chests, and the system screen popped up. Host has opened the purple crystal treasure chest. Received 10 attribute rune evolution stones. Host has opened the purple crystal treasure chest. Received 5 attribute rune evolution stones. Host has opened the purple crystal treasure chest. Received blue rank talent fragment. Super dimensional teleportation, 1/3. Can consume talent points. The fixed point cannot be more than 2 teleportation locations. Spend a large amount of talent points to teleport. The longer the teleportation distance, the longer the cooldown time. Consume talent points to reduce the cooldown time. Host has opened the purple crystal treasure chest. Received blue rank talent fragment. Fatal bloodthirst, 1/3. Consume talent points to add bloodthirst to one attack. When attacking an enemy and injuring the enemy, a portion of the damage dealt to the enemy will be converted into a healing effect for the host. The healing effect cannot exceed 30% of the damage dealt. The Golden Silk Silver Emperor Armor is the strongest defensive artifact. It can withstand 20% of a 5th level combat emperor's attack and 40% of an attack below the 5th level. Good stuff. Lin Shan's eyes lit up. Before the first wave had even subsided, another wave rose. 3 silhouettes that had shattered the spatial crystal walls slowly appeared in the sky above the fog. They instantly locked onto Lin Shan. This kid doesn't seem to be a war emperor. This Azura tomb actually has a Yuan venerate. While 2 of them are puzzled, the third person was shocked speechless. Lin Shan, it's you. The person who had arrived was actually Long Qi, late 5th level combat emperor. These 3 people were the 3 most powerful people who had entered the Azura tomb this time. The other 2 were not inferior to Long Qi at all. They were also at the late 5th level combat emperor. Lin Shan's pupils instantly shrank. Rumble. The doppelganger that was in the final state suddenly pulled out an arrow, knocked the bowstring, and pulled the bowstring. This arrow was as bright as thunder, overbearing and swift. It was the purple might lightning arrow that Lin Shun had spent 4,000 firmament dollars to purchase. It was countless times stronger than an arrow condensed from battle chi. It was a low-grade, 7th-level consumable weapon. Dark Shadow, Thunder Army. When the bow was fully drawn, the Myriad Star Thunder Fury bow suddenly shot out a dark lightning arrow that could tear the galaxy apart. The purple might lightning arrow was shot violently, like a purple star that pierced through the clouds, shooting towards Long Chi. Facing a 5th-level combat emperor, ordinary moves would not be effective. In a single breath, Lin Shun activated Ultimate Restoration, following which he expended all of his battle chi, level 5 charge points, level 4 penetration rune, and even took out his purple might lightning arrow. He decisively activated the second style of the Dark Lightning Arrow, Dark Shadow Lightning Arrow, and shot out this arrow with all of his might. Without hesitation, Lin Shun and his doppelganger retreated rapidly, retreating deeper into the tomb. At this moment, there was only one thought in his mind: run. Lin Shun was no match for a 5th-level combat emperor, let alone a late 5th-level combat emperor. This was an absolute difference in cultivation level. If he allowed his opponent to regain his senses, he would not even have the chance to run. Long Chi waved his sleeves and suddenly stretched out his palm and clenched it in the air. 5 finger marks that were dozens of feet long tore through the space crystal wall. Like a vicious hook, his claw crushed Lin Chen's arrow skill. The penetrating power of the penetration rune penetrated Long Chi's arm. With a wave of his sleeve, he shattered the remaining power of the penetrating power. To be able to unleash such an attack at the Yuan Venerate realm, he is indeed a monster. However, this brat was far more than that. Now, he is only a Yuan Venerate. Could it be that he can't use that external force from before? Long Chi was bewildered. His expression suddenly became vicious as he cupped his fists and said, "Both of you, please help me take down this brat. After this, I, Long Chi, will reward you handsomely. For this tomb exploration, I, Long Chi, will give you most of my share. I only want this brat's head." The two of them were puzzled and surprised. Was this brat's head so valuable? "You want the two of us to help you capture a Yuan Venerate?" One of the gray-robed elders frowned. Long Chi's voice was hoarse as he said seriously, "This brat is not a Yuan Venerate. Even my blood demon doppelganger was killed by him. If you underestimate him, you will suffer a great loss." The two of them were shocked. They put away the contempt in their hearts. The three of them stomped their feet on the void, shattered the space, and moved the stars as they chased after Lin Shun. They spread out in a triangular formation. Even though this place was filled with dense fog, they could still clearly find Lin Chen's position. The strength of a 5th-level combat emperor was evident. F***ck him. How do we meet him so quickly? Do we have to fight to the death? No way. Using a level 5 slowing rune to seal 1 or 2 5th-level combat emperors is already the limit. I can't handle 3 of them. Lin Chen's speed was extremely fast. He, who had temporarily advanced to the late stage of the 9th-level combat emperor, coupled with the ultimate moment, and even the Dragon Emperor's pure strength, activated the purple phoenix wings, and his figure was like a flash of moonlight, madly dashing between the mountains and the tomb. Chi! The dull sound of a sonic boom tore through the air. A finger beam tore through dozens of mountains and headed straight for Lin Shun. His 9 tribulations I was activated to the extreme. He detected the arrival of danger less than half a breath in advance. His figure turned and barely avoided his original position. The finger beam was unstoppable, cutting off the earth veins and shattering the earth. Chapter 555. The blood-red finger pierced through the ground, creating a deep abyss. Lin Chen's expression turned serious. This was just his opponent testing him. If it was a late 5th-level combat emperor who was seriously attacking, then it wouldn't be so simple. The Dragon Emperor's limit is to fight against an early 3rd-level combat emperor. It would be difficult for him to even stall for time against a 5th-level combat emperor. Is there any way to reverse the situation? Lin Chen's thoughts churned rapidly. His purple-golden pupils were pushed to the extreme, and his 9 tribulations was activated. He was on high alert at all times. His eyes gradually turned ruthless. If he was forced into a dead end, Lin Chen wouldn't mind teaching Long Qi a bloody lesson. If he wanted to eat Lin Chen, he could at least break his teeth. All of a sudden, Lin Chen saw a vast and ancient temple, exuding a boundless pressure that could suppress the ancient times. Gritting his teeth, he dashed toward the temple. At this moment, a low and muffled roar broke the silence. Which bastard dares to make things difficult for my brother? The ground shook, and the roar shattered the crystal walls in the tomb. It even dispersed some of the fog in the sky. Lin Chen covered his ears, and his face was filled with astonishment. Long Qi and the other 2 quickly stopped. Their expressions were solemn. In their perception, a noble aura was awakening. Rumble. Rolling purple flames surged into the sky. When it exploded, an azure dragon bathed in the sea of purple flames appeared. The dragon's aura was intimidating in all directions. Lin Chen was stunned. The 3 veteran battle emperors were dumbfounded as well. This azure dragon was different from the others. It had a pair of purple flame wings on its back. The dragon's back claws were shaped like an eagle's, and there were feathers on its head. What kind of F** king dragon is this? The gray-robed elder at the late 5th-level combat emperor couldn't help but curse. He had never seen such a strange azure dragon. Wait a minute. Are these the characteristics of the true flame purple phoenix and the 10,000-year profound azure dragon? Could it be that this dragon is a giant dragon that combines the bloodline of the purple phoenix and the azure dragon? Lin Chen's purple-golden pupils observed the dragon's characteristics and the aura in its bloodline. He immediately noticed the clues. Brother, are you okay? Heya, who would have thought that after so many years, this old dragon would finally be able to see the light of day again? I thought that I would be trapped in this tomb for the rest of my life. Who would have thought that I would be able to meet a brother like myself? That dragon laughed at Lin Chen in a low, muffled voice. Lin Chen was stunned for a moment before he immediately understood and smiled. He cupped his fists and said, Brother, you're too polite. I'm just Mother ***. Who's your brother? Watch your words. I'm talking to my brother, who knew that the dragon would blow his beard and glare at him, causing the corners of Lin Fan's mouth to twitch. F***CK. You're not talking to me, and you're addressing the air as your brother? Didn't I give you face by calling you brother? Brother, hurry up and get out of that brat's body. Why are you hiding? The ancient dragon clan anxiously roared. The 3 war emperors were stunned and did not dare to act rashly. This big fellow was at least middle stage tier 7 strength. Most importantly, its aura contained the bloodline pressure of the azure dragon and the purple phoenix. The pressure it gave the 3 war emperors was not inferior to that of a tier 7 dire beast. Hearing its words, Lin Chen slapped his thigh and suddenly understood. Without saying anything, Lin Chen released the Wanzai Green Dragon Emperor. The Dragon Emperor hovered in the air and roared. Brother, are you looking for me? Oh my dear brother, who would have thought that there's someone like me in this world? I'm so happy. That ancient dragon clan excitedly moved to Lin Chen's Dragon Emperor's side. Lin Fan was completely overjoyed. There's such a thing. This ancient dragon clan guarding the tomb actually mistook the Wanzai Green Dragon Emperor for its own kind. They both had the bloodline of the true flame purple phoenix and the Wanzai Black Azure Dragon. I say, brother, why did you run over to this weak human? The ancient dragon clan asked in a low, muffled voice. Lin Fan's mouth twitched. Damn, I'm weak. If not for the fact that I can't beat you, I'll definitely show you my strength. Old bro, this little friend Lin Chen is my savior. You gotta be more courteous. Back then, when I was on the brink of death, it was this little friend who risked his life to save me. That was the reason why I was able to survive together with him. The Wanzai Green Dragon Emperor said seriously. In fact, it was Lin Shun who was speaking. The Dragon Emperor and he were of the same origin. The two of them were one. He could control the Wanzai Green Dragon Emperor with just a thought. So you're my savior. Human brat, I didn't know you had such a relationship with my brother. And I'll temporarily treat you as half a brother. The primordial dragon clan's serious appearance made Lin Shun secretly laugh in his heart. He controlled the 10,000-year Azure Dragon Emperor and continued to complain. Big brother, these three fellows said that they want to kill the two of us. They also said that they want to stew me and eat me, sprinkle cumin on the grill, wrap me in clothes, and fry me. They also want to add a bottle of snow and Red Bull. They want to treat me, your little brother, as a midnight snack. Brother, you tell me, I can tolerate this, but I can't. CK, their grannies. The ancient dragon clan was instantly enraged. Monstrous green and purple flames rolled in its body, burning the void for thousands of miles. Long Chi and the other two were completely speechless. CK. Who the hell wants to treat it as a midnight snack? This fellow was definitely one with Lin Shun. It must be that little bastard Lin Shun who made it say that. Looks like the human race is a little arrogant now. I want to see how awesome you are. You dare to treat my brother as a midnight snack? Damn it, die for me. The ancient green dragon opened its mouth and spat out dozens of purple flame-light pillars. They crossed the sky and swept towards the three of them. Spread out. Long Chi's eyebrows trembled violently as he suddenly shouted. The three of them turned into three rays of divine light and dodged. They used their movement techniques and took dozens of steps in the void. Their figures were like shooting stars as they continuously dodged the destructive purple flame light pillars. I'll hold it back. You guys take down that brat. Long Chi gritted his teeth and took the initiative to meet the attack. The other two instantly formed a formation and attacked Lin Shun from the left and right. Trash like you want to stop me? The ancient green dragon was disdainful. Its dragon body swayed in the air, and its dragon tail swept in all directions in an overbearing manner. The purple phoenix wings flapped, and the strength of the dragon tail increased sharply. Long Chi's expression changed slightly. He raised his hands and turned into an ancient energy mirror that covered the sky. It was crushed by the dragon tail and sent flying thousands of miles away. The purple phoenix wings flapped again. The ancient green dragon turned into a purple flame and flashed past. Its dragon claws grabbed the void angrily and reached towards the other two fifth-level combat emperors who were attacking Lin Shun. Bang! The pure strength of moving mountains and filling seas pierced through the earth veins. One of the fifth-level combat emperors was forced to retreat, his expression horrified. The other gray-robed old man, on the other hand, strangely transformed into an afterimage and appeared a few hundred miles away from Lin Shun. You have some tricks up your sleeve? The ancient green dragon's dragon eyes moved. He was slightly surprised, and then his expression turned serious. Brat, die for me. The gray-robed old man smiled sinisterly. His 5 fingers grabbed towards Lin Shun and the Wanzai Qing Dragon Emperor like an eagle's claw. This grab caused the space around Lin Shun and the Dragon Emperor to distort and explode. Not good. That human brat is in danger. The ancient green dragon's body was wandering around. Just as he was about to take the risk to support Lin Shun, the corner of his mouth suddenly curved into a cold arc. You want to kill me with just a 5th-level combat emperor? Let's see who will die. Lin Shun held the 5 Dragons Emperor Dynasty Spear in his hand. His aura was so strong that it shook the heavens and the earth. His body moved and turned into a faint moonlight as he took the initiative to welcome the attack. He brazenly faced the 5th-level combat emperor. Chapter 556. If you want to take Lin Shun's life, you'll have to lose a layer of skin first. Lin Shun brazenly threw out a level 5 slowing rune. This time, it was an unprecedented 100,000 points of rune energy. With this amount of rune energy, the level 5 slowing rune was enough to seal many low-level combat emperors. Chi, Chi. The space froze, and the figure of the gray-robed old man stopped in the void. Even with his powerful physique, he couldn't mobilize the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. The battle chi in his body was as slow as a turtle's. The gray-robed old man was shocked. How could a Yuan Venerate have such a strange technique? Black Azure Dragon Realm. The moment the Dragon Emperor unleashed the Dragon Realm, he waved his dragon claws and used all his strength to activate the manifold black light blade. Burning with purple flames, he spun and slashed at the gray-robed old man. The doppelganger knocked an arrow and shot out another purple lightning arrow. Everyone activated the ultimate moment. Extreme celestial water light. Brilliant demon worshipping the heavens. Soul-slaying slash. Lin Shun and the 3 avatars rushed forward. The water moon sword light flashed with a green rainbow light, and the dark fire spear light pierced through the sky. The dark saber chi was like a long river descending into the world. The dark saber chi split the clouds apart, and all of the attacks landed on the gray-robed old man. Bang! Boom! 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 The terrifying attack stunned even the primordial green dragon. Such a terrifying Yuan Venerate had never appeared in the ancient times where it lived. No wonder this human brat could save my brother. If he can unleash such an attack as a Yuan Venerate, won't he be able to exchange a few moves with me if he advances to the Combat Emperor realm? The primordial green dragon flashed and resisted the aftershock of Lin Chen's attack. The manifold black azure dragon was famous for its defense and was not afraid of the aftershock of Lin Chen's attack. The chaotic tribulation battle, Qi, formed a storm that wreaked havoc. The gray-robed, old man sorry figure was constantly pushed back and revealed from the storm. His blood was boiling, and he had almost suffered internal injuries from Lin Chen's attack. The old man's eyes were filled with indescribable shock. A 9th-level Yuan Venerate had pushed back a 5th-level combat emperor. There had never been such a Yuan Venerate in the history of the Jiuzhou continent. No wonder Long Qi insisted on killing this brat. If this brat grows up, he will be a supreme figure in the firmament tower. Just as the restraint of the slowing rune began to loosen and the gray-robed old man was about to fly away, for afterimages flashed almost simultaneously. Ultimate convergence. It was Lin Shun and his 3 clones. He actually took the initiative to approach him. After activating ultimate convergence twice in a row, he replenished all the battle chis that his main body and doppelganger had consumed. Then, he activated a new battle skill, Wind Cloud Mutation. Are you courting death? The gray-robed elder was furious. Primordial Azure Dragon, F*CK. This human brat was really F*King Ferocious. Not only did you not run, you even dared to get close to me? You're the one that's going to die, you old turtle. Eat my finger. The distance between the two sides was less than 1,000 feet. Lin Shun was willing to be cut into pieces and dared to pull the emperor off his horse. A finger pointed angrily at the void. Boom! 4 5-colored energy fingers appeared out of thin air and smashed into the gray-robed old man's chest. Bang! Bang! The suffocating 5-colored primeval energy blasted out like a raging ocean, rolling across the sky and breaking the clouds. The terrifying explosion slowed down the primordial Azure Dragon's speed of assisting Lin Shun. Long Qi and the other 5th-level combat emperor, who were sent flying, were shocked. Who would have thought that Lin Shun, a Yuan Venerate, would fight to such an extent? Die! A ghostly white claw stretched out of the void. It was several acres large, and it tore through the energy storm violently, grabbing toward Lin Shun and the other 3 clones. 1,000 US yen armor. As he activated the Earth Calamity battle body, the 3 avatars tried to retreat, but the ghostly white claw was unstoppable. When they were only 100 feet away, the 1,000 US yen armor of the 3 avatars was completely shattered. They exploded into nothingness like balloons. Not even dregs were left. After crushing the 3 clones, the ghostly white claw grabbed toward Lin Shun at lightning speed. At the critical moment, Dragon Chi formed a dragon domain, and a miniature Azure Dragon Emperor condensed a dragon aura battle armor and blocked in front of Lin Shun. The dragon aura battle armor condensed by the 10,000-year profound Azure Dragon, which was famous for its defense, was instantly penetrated by the ghostly white claw. Dragon blood gushed out, scales were torn open, and flesh was exposed. A huge hole was punctured in the chest of Lin Chen's Dragon Emperor forelimb. The ghostly white claw went straight for Lin Shun and hit the front of Lin Shun. Bang! Crack! Crack! The Earth Calamity battle armor shattered, and the golden light overflowed. The silver light grew and enveloped Lin Shun. The ghostly white claw shattered, and Lin Chen's ribs broke, and he spat out a large amount of blood. Under the protection of the gold-threaded silver Emperor armor and the Dragon Emperor's desperate protection, Lin Shen managed to keep his life. His foundation was not damaged, but he still suffered a lot. A late-stage 5th-level combat Emperor's desperate counterattack could even kill a 2nd-level combat Emperor instantly. Not to mention Lin Shun, who is only a Yuan Venerate. Damn it, is this all you can do after giving it your all? Lin Shun fell to the ground like a kite with a broken string. The gray-robed old man, who was bleeding from the corner of his mouth, was about to make a second attack when a terrifying dragon aura attacked him from behind. His expression changed slightly, and he clenched his fist and punched behind him. When the spatial crystal wall shattered, 2 overwhelming auras collided. Boom! 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 The primordial Azure Dragon and the gray-robed old man clashed 3 times, and the surrounding mountains were turned into dust. The gray-robed old man was beaten up violently, and his injuries were piled on top of his injuries. He barely managed to stay in the battle with his strange movement skill. After a dozen rounds of battle, the gray-robed old man, who was like a ghost, stepped on the void and turned into a stream of light, flying towards Long Chi and the others. This big guy is so terrifying. His combat power is not inferior to a 6th-level combat emperor with 6 fate wheels. The gray-robed old man wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and his expression was solemn. The 3 of them looked at each other and saw the seriousness in each other's eyes. They wanted to retreat, but after what happened today, both sides were determined to kill. The young man in front of them would not let them go. If he grew stronger in the future, the 3 of them would not be able to bear his revenge. Now, he had to take advantage of the fact that his wings were not fully developed to kill him. The primordial Azure Dragon was entrenched beside the Dragon Emperor. Seeing its near-fatal injuries, its killing intent surged. It had finally found a brother with the same purple Phoenix Azure Dragon bloodline as it, but it was pierced through by that old man's palm. It was about to die. It was angry and shocked. Its brother risked his life to protect this young man of a human race. It could be seen that the young man's position in its heart was even more important than its own. In fact, the Dragon Emperor did not have complete spiritual intelligence. It was purely protecting its master. How dare you hurt my brother? I'll swallow you 3 bastards today. The primordial Azure Dragon roared, and its whole body glowed with an everlasting green light. Its aura was rising rapidly, and its purple phoenix wings spread high into the sky. It transformed into a purple flame and green light, and rushed towards the 3 of them. It used the power of its bloodline to buy time. When the time is up, it won't be able to stop us. Long Chi shouted. He pulled open the void with both of his hands, and an energy ancient mirror appeared in front of the primordial Azure Dragon. The battle between the 3 of them and the primordial Azure Dragon shook the entire tomb. Many combat emperors stopped fighting and quickly escaped from the range of the battle. The aftermath of the battle between 4 5th-level combat emperors was enough to easily kill a low-level combat emperor. Chapter 557. The primordial azure dragon's might had descended to the mortal world, and it was able to fight against 3 people alone. It had even forced the 3 of them to the edge of the tomb. Its battle prowess was far beyond their imagination. The 10,000-year profound azure dragon was famous for its defense, followed by its attack. Its weakness was its speed and explosive power. However, the primordial azure dragon, with the purple phoenix bloodline, perfectly made up for the inherent weakness of this bloodline race. A true perfect body, the Dragon Emperor that was second only to Lin Shun in terms of battle integrity. It was on a completely different level from the demonic flame dragon scorpion that Long Qi and the other experts had worked together to kill. While the primordial azure dragon was delaying the 3 of them, Lin Shun focused on circulating the wood spirit essence technique. Together with his life growth talent that had been strengthened to 150%, his recovery speed was extremely fast. His ribs were recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. What made Lin Shun even more surprised was that the 10,000-year Azure Dragon Emperor also had a new fortuitous encounter. At this moment, the Dragon Emperor's wounds were burning with purple flames. The purple flames burned all the way to its entire body. Its vitality was extremely tenacious. It was originally on the verge of death after taking a blow from a late 5th layer immortal emperor, but now it was saved by the new vitality of the purple phoenix bloodline. The energy of the purple phoenix bloodline in its body was truly stimulated. The ability Purple Phoenix Nirvana that it had comprehended when fusing with the Purple Phoenix bloodline was completely activated. The Phoenix Nirvana, rebirth from the ashes, standing after destruction, surpassing the limits. This was the benefit of the Purple Phoenix bloodline. The Dragon Emperor had completely inherited the Purple Phoenix clan's Nirvana ability. The bloodline has been stimulated to the extreme. If the Dragon Emperor can be reborn from the ashes this time, its strength will probably rise to another level. Lin Chen's eyes lit up. He didn't think that the Purple Phoenix bloodline's Nirvana ability would come in handy at this crucial moment. Without saying anything, he seized the time to adjust his breathing. His broken ribs began to reconnect, and a faint light of wood lingered around Lin Chen's body. What Lin Chen did not know was that while he was recuperating from his injuries, a figure who had been hiding in the shadows had flashed into the divine temple behind him. The primordial azure dragon's battle lasted for almost half a day. The 3 late 5th layer combat emperors were defeated before the Dragon Emperor's bloodline ignition ended. He fled in a sorry state. In terms of strength, the primordial green dragon's strength had already surpassed the early stage of the 6th level combat emperor realm, reaching the middle stage of the 6th level combat emperor realm. In addition to the extreme speed of the purple phoenix wings, his strength was extremely terrifying. When the primordial azure dragon returned to its brother's side, it was completely stunned when it saw the inextinguishable purple flames burning all over its body. This is the true flame purple phoenix race's Nirvana innate skill. My brother's talent is truly formidable. He even inherited this kind of talent. The primordial azure dragon roared with laughter. In this way, the gray-robed old man had instead given a fortune to his brother. How did you recover so quickly, little brat? When it looked at Lin Shen again, the primordial green dragon was shocked again. I don't have any strong points, but I'm tough and durable. He wouldn't die no matter how hard he was beaten. This time, I really have to thank Senior for saving me. Lin Shan was just about to grin when all of a sudden, an intense throbbing pain came from his meridians. It was so painful that he was convulsing. Damn it, he still has a backup plan? Lin Shun hurriedly activated all of his battle chi natal palaces to check his entire body. He saw a faint, cold energy sneaking into his body and gradually corroding his internal organs and meridians. If it wasn't for the battle chi in his meridians resisting instinctively, Lin Shen wouldn't even know that he was in this cold energy. It's actually a hidden force. What terrifying strength. A 5th stage battle emperor is indeed abnormal. Lin Chen's expression was solemn. This hidden force was many times more powerful than his dark dragon force. If he hadn't discovered it early, he would have been crippled in a few days. I don't care what kind of cold energy you have, it's trash in front of my 9 calamities of creation. Refine it. Lin Shun activated the mental cultivation method of the 9 calamities of creation and activated the 9 types of heavenly calamity battle chi. All the heavenly calamity battle chi surrounded the cold, dark force and refined it. This little guy has other problems? It seems that the human race's combat emperors are really cunning and strange. Humph, they only know how to play dirty tricks. The primordial azure dragon roared in disdain. It coiled around Lin Shun and the Dragon Emperor, protecting them. Outside of the tomb, 3 figures stood side by side in the sky with ugly expressions on their faces. F***CK, your grandmother. Long Qi, how are you going to compensate us for this loss? It took me a lot of effort to come here from the 3rd main city. As soon as I entered the tomb, I was beaten up by that shitty hybrid dragon and came out with nothing. I even got injured. One of the combat emperors in green roared angrily. Long Qi's expression was gloomy. These 2 5th-stage combat emperors were veteran combat emperors that he had invited from the 3rd main city. They were on the ranking board and had a high status. He thought that the 3 of them would be the strongest team in the tomb, but he didn't expect that they would encounter such a situation. If it wasn't for them provoking Lin Shun, the primordial azure dragon wouldn't have attacked them so easily. High-level creatures were intelligent enough to not start a war without a reason. Obviously, the responsibility for this incident was all on Long Qi. The spatial boundary of the tomb is still there. We can't enter again. We can only wait. Wait for that kid to come out. Long Qi's expression was ruthless. That primordial azure dragon has the seal of the tomb. It can't leave the tomb. Without it, the 3 of us can easily kill that kid. I only want that kid's head. You can share the things he has with you. How about it? Do you want to do it or not? You've seen all kinds of high-level weapons on that kid. It should be enough for you to take action this time. Long Qi's words had indeed moved the other 2. The weapons used by Lin Shun and his doppelganger were all high-rank 7th grade mid-grade and top-grade mid-grade. The value of 1 or 2 of them was enough to make their trip worthwhile. Suddenly, the gray-robed elder's expression changed. He clutched his chest, and blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Mother asterisk Kerr, this brat actually discovered my Een cold force? No, he's refining my Een energy. The gray-robed elder's expression became more and more fearful. In the 9th tomb, in front of the Mist Shrine, Lin Chen's 9 types of heavenly tribulation battle aura surged and danced around him like 9 huge dragons hovering in the sky. Boom, boom, boom. A violent roar came from his body. Lin Chen couldn't help but smile slightly before bursting into laughter. Ha ha, I'll accept this big gift. 9 calamity battle aura refined for me. The 9 types of battle chi of heaven's tribulation were like an all-pervasive sea current flowing into Lin Chen's body. The cold power hidden in his meridians and internal organs were all like mice that saw a cat, revealing themselves and being caught by Lin Chen. After being continuously suppressed by the heavenly tribulation battle aura, the 9 types of heavenly tribulation battle aura enveloped the Een energy like an invisible net and refined it into surging energy that flowed into the 8 battle aura natal palaces. Chapter 558. The Een energy continued to transform into pure battle chi. This was a killer move left behind by a late-stage battle emperor. If it could be completely refined, it would be a great supplement for low-level battle emperors, not to mention Lin Shun, who is only a Yuan venerate. Good lad, you actually did the opposite. You refined the killing intent and energy hidden in your body into your own battle chi. Battle chi of 9 attributes. Such a domineering mental cultivation method. I have never seen such a domineering mental cultivation method in my era. The primordial azure dragon smacked its lips in amazement, clicking its tongue in wonder and sighing in amazement. Time passed by slowly. Lin Shun continued to refine for 3 days and 3 nights. His battle chi cultivation could be said to have improved by leaps and bounds. It soared from mid-stage level 8 to late-stage level 8 and finally to early-stage level 9. The 9 battle chi natal palaces in his body were completed. Next, he entered the stage of condensing natal palace crystals. As long as he could condense all 9 natal palaces into natal palace crystals, he would become a half-step battle emperor. Shattering the crystals was the final moment to break through to the battle emperor realm. Finally, on the way to condense the 3rd natal palace crystal, Lin Shun finished absorbing the Yin energy and stopped at the peak of early stage level 9. He was just a little bit away from mid-stage level 9. I'm not far from breaking through to the battle emperor realm. It seems like I have to get an emperor life pill. Lin Shun rubbed his chin. The Emperor Life Pill was a grade 7 pill that cost 100,000 firmament dollars. It could be said that this was the reason why countless Yuan venerates entered the Firmament Tower. If one failed to break through to the Battle Emperor realm, the shattered natal palace crystals would not disappear immediately. They would remain in the body, and there would be a 50% chance of condensing a new natal palace crystal. It could save one's life once. After recuperating, one could break through to the Battle Emperor realm a second time. Everyone could only use it once in their lifetime. This item was only available in the Firmament Tower. This was also the reason why countless powerhouses entered the Firmament Tower like moths to a flame. This second chance was really too important. Since ancient times, there had been countless geniuses who had broken through to the Battle Emperor realm because of this second chance. It could be said that their lives were bestowed by the Emperor Life Pill. There are attribute light balls. Dozens of attribute light balls and 2 treasure chests floated in the air. They were all left behind by the gray-robed old man. Lin Shun had managed to injure him with his Yuan Venerate cultivation, causing a batch of extremely high-quality attribute light balls to roll out. Before the primordial azure dragon could ask Lin Shun anything, he flew over and took away the attribute light ball. He then opened the purple crystal treasure chest. Host has received 285 points of water-type energy, 29,500 points of battle chi essence, 18,400 points of blood chi, 9,500 points of cultivation soul essence, 3,800 points of heaven's path, 3,000 points of talent points, 50 points of spiritual energy, 10,500 points of rune energy. Host has opened the purple crystal treasure chest. Received 10 rune evolution stones. The host has opened the purple crystal treasure chest. Obtained blue rank talent fragment. Super dimensional teleportation, 2/3. Lin Shen's entire body felt light as a feather as he obtained a sea of attribute light balls in one go. His battle chi cultivation had officially stepped into the middle of 9th level, and he had even successfully condensed his 4th natal palace crystal. The attributes dropped by a late-stage 5th level combat emperor were not exaggerated at all. Now that I am already at the middle of 9th level, ordinary Yuan venerates will not drop attribute light balls anymore. This means that my goal in the future is to become a combat emperor. Damn, this is too difficult. Lin Shin couldn't help but twitch his mouth when he thought about how he had only managed to injure the 5th level combat emperor a little. He shook his head dejectedly. Even Han Zhongtian, who was known as the #1 expert below the combat emperor realm, could only fight a 1st level combat emperor head-on. He couldn't even defeat a 1st level combat emperor. He was only a 9th level Yuan venerate, yet he could injure a 5th level combat emperor. If this news spread out, it would shake the entire Jiuzhou continent. He was still not satisfied. If other people knew what he was thinking, they would probably cry from anger. The huge gap between a Yuan venerate and a combat emperor was easily surpassed by him. It was simply infuriating. Kid, your aptitude is very high. No wonder my brother took a fancy to you. Not bad, not bad. You should be qualified to enter the shrine. The primordial azure dragon raised his head and growled in a low voice. Enter the shrine? Lin Shin was puzzled. Yes, this tomb shrine was built by my former master. He was waiting for someone who could accept the Azura race's inheritance. If one could obtain the inheritance, it would be easy to ascend to the Combat Emperor realm. Of course, the difficulty of obtaining the inheritance is many times harder than reaching the Combat Emperor realm. The primordial azure dragon revealed a look of admiration when he talked about his former master. I can only leave this place if you successfully accept the inheritance. Otherwise, I can only wait for my master's tomb forever. Originally, I wanted to force you into the shrine. Of course, you and my brother have been through life and death together. For the sake of my brother, you still have the right to choose. Choose my ass. I definitely want the inheritance. The words of Lin Shun and his companion were resolute and decisive. He was here for this. The incident in the spiritual state, the sage's inheritance, and the fake god behind the Ning family. All these matters would be settled by him personally. What he lacked the most now was King strength. Without strength, he would be a sitting duck. What left the deepest impression on Lin Shun was the shock that the mysterious person brought to him. Even though Lin Shun had entered the Godslayer state, he couldn't resist her at all. He was as weak as an ant. He had to become stronger. The Combat Emperor realm was the first step that he had to take. His goal was to become a saint. Ha ha ha, you have guts. I told you that my brother can be a coward. You will see the test set by my master when you enter the shrine. If you can come out of it, it means that you have succeeded. If you can't, it means that you are nothing more than this. The primordial azure dragon raised his dragon claw and pointed at the shrine with awe in his dragon eyes. The memories of his former master were too strong. The Azura race fought the heavens and the earth without cowardice. They fought and won all their battles. In the end, they fought until they had no opponents. In order to pursue higher realms, they even began to kill their own kind. Looks like I can't bring the Azure Dragon with me this time. I don't care if it's a dragon's den, a tiger's den, or a mountain of swords and a sea of flames. I have to go on this trip. Lin Shun glanced at the Dragon Emperor that was in the critical stage of recovery. Not only was his life force getting stronger, but the dragon veins in his body were also accumulating energy. When the accumulation was complete, he would release it all at once and open up more dragon veins. His strength would increase explosively. Lin Shun jumped into the shrine's main entrance and disappeared under the primordial azure dragon's gaze. What a ruthless person. This brat has a bit of the demeanor of my former master. The primordial azure dragon's muttering reverberated in the void. The shrine returned to silence. Lin Shun stepped into the shrine and kept his purple-golden eyes open the entire time. The moment he stepped into the shrine, a brightly lit passage appeared. Lin Shun's expression changed suddenly. There's the remnant aura of a living person in the void. Someone came in before me? Damn it, someone came in first. Chapter 559. Lin Shun's purple golden pupils were only one step away from the highest level, double golden pupils. Although the opponent had concealed his aura well, other veteran combat emperors might not be able to detect it. However, Lin Shun was not one of them. He had only walked for less than 15 minutes when he sensed the aura of a living person. The Tomb Palace was an ancient artifact. Normally, it would not be open. Ordinary creatures would not be able to enter, let alone leave such a strong aura. It was obvious that the person had just entered. Could it be that my inheritance has already been taken by someone else? Who dares to steal my inheritance? If it's a man, I'll pull out my spear. If it's a woman, I'll pull out my spear too. Lin Shun gritted his teeth and ran. After a few flashes, he entered the depths of the passage. The passage was deep and dark. The surrounding flames did not seem to be ordinary flames. Instead, they seemed to be condensed by some special aura. He ran all the way to the end of the passage, and a white jade square came into view. On both sides of the white jade arena, there were many figures in armor. Their auras were fierce and murderous, and the light that flowed out of their armor was even more extraordinary. It was as if they were hiding rivers and mountains, and their sharpness was deep and domineering. This is the Azura armor. Lin Chen's eyes lit up. The mission he had accepted was to go to the Azura tomb to collect the Azura armor. One set of Azura armor was worth 10,000 firmament dollars. On both sides of the white jade square, there were at least hundreds of figures in Azura armor. At the end of the white jade square, there was a huge door that was thousands of feet tall. Lin Chen examined it with his purple-golden pupils and nine tribulations eye. He could even sense the aura of death inside. It was as if once one stepped into the door, life and death would be out of this world. There's a big secret behind this huge door. Lin Chen frowned. At this moment, he was stunned. In front of the huge door, between two human statues, a lady in a plain dress was fiddling with 5 jade plates that looked like star maps. She seemed to have sensed Lin Chen's gaze. She turned around abruptly. Their eyes met, and the air seemed to have frozen. "Who are you? How did you enter the Azura Palace?" "What the F***CK? Someone really did it first." Both parties spoke at the same time. Lin Chen narrowed his eyes and grabbed the 5 dragons' imperial spear. Regardless of whether it was a man or a woman, Lin Chen only had one choice. That was to pull out his gun and fight with all his might. Do it ruthlessly, no matter if it was a man or a woman. They all pulled out their spears. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to become a battle emperor. Lin Chen's 9 calamities of creation was destined to have an extremely high starting line. It was unknown when he would be able to touch the War Emperor realm through conventional cultivation. This was one of his few chances. Rip! With a flap of the purple phoenix wings, Lin Chen transformed into an afterimage of moonlight as he swept over. He flipped in the air and furiously smashed down with his spear. Devil Ren's spear was activated, and the spear light was like a crescent moon as it smashed down. The woman in a simple dress frowned and lightly raised her hand. The azure blue water element battle chi transformed into a rotating wheel of light that collided with the tip of Lin Chen's spear. Clang! Rumble! A terrifying shockwave set off in the plaza, shaking the surroundings. A figure was pushed back continuously. It was actually Lin Chen who was pushed back. Half-step Emperor realm. Lin Chen looked at the woman in a simple dress with an outstanding temperament in shock. In an instant, the aura she revealed was only that of a half-step Emperor realm. Lin Chen, who was in the middle stage of 9th stage, had used all his strength to attack. Even a first-stage War Emperor realm expert would have to take it seriously. What a domineering heavenly tribulation battle chi. There's actually such a strong person in the mortal world? The woman in a simple dress shook her numb hand and looked at Lin Chen with a surprised expression. "No matter who you are, no one can stop me on this trip." The woman in a simple dress waved her hand, and the 5-star chart fragments merged into one. The 3,000 feet tall door of the shrine shook with a deafening sound. The door slowly opened to both sides, and a dark space tunnel as deep as the abyss appeared. The woman in a simple dress didn't say anything and immediately entered. Lin Chen's expression changed slightly. Just as he was about to activate his movement technique and enter, an earth-shattering murderous aura rushed towards Lin Chen like a divine sword that was about to pierce through the sky. A powerful being has locked onto me. Holding the spear with both hands, Lin Chen pulled the golden spear in his hand with lightning speed. Between the 5-colored dragon chi, spear shadows filled the sky and pierced into the void. Clang! 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 Sparks flew in all directions, and the crystal walls in the space twisted and shook. Then, dozens of sharp and domineering auras seemed to have merged into one and turned into a long river that slashed towards Lin Chen. Half-step Emperor realm attack? No, it's not that simple. This terrifying aura even made Lin Chen activate the 5-layer transformation and temporarily enter the realm of a half-step emperor. The battle spear in his hand stabbed out more than a dozen times, and the 9 types of heavenly tribulation battle chi formed a flower, which then bloomed and exploded into a shower of spear lights. 1,000 demons piercing heart, layers of spear shadows pushed forward. Lin Chen made another move, and only then did he destroy the murderous aura. What a terrifying attack. What a fierce and domineering killing intent. Lin Shan didn't dare to approach the passage at all. He was on guard. The figures in the Shura armor slowly walked over. Their movements seemed to be driven by some kind of will, and they were connected as one. Their aura was so strong that even the War Emperor realm experts were frightened. Although these dead Shura clan experts are only half-step emperors, when over 100 of them work together, their killing intent soars into the sky, and their battle intent is invincible. They have the power to kill emperors. Lin Shan, who had a serious expression, kept retreating. If it was only 10, 20, or even 30 of them, he wouldn't be afraid at all. However, if over 100 of them worked together, the aura they condensed would be even more terrifying. Even a War Emperor realm late stage or second stage might not be able to withstand it. No wonder there was a history of the Shura clan dominating the primordial era. So they are this strong. Just as Lin Shan was feeling troubled, his pupils shrank. Lin Shan was shocked to see that the woman in the plain dress in the dark space channel was beginning to touch the white jade ball that was spinning in the channel. This caused the temple door that had just opened to slowly close. Oh my God, she's closing the door. Outside the 9 Shura tombs, dozens of figures stood in the air. After several days and nights of fierce battles, many of the experts had gained something. Many of the tombs had even triggered the Shura clan's restrictions, causing them to flee in a frenzy. Fortunately, the Shura clan's restrictions only existed within the tombs. Suddenly, a young man's miserable shriek came from the 9th tomb, causing the experts' scalps to go numb. "Young miss, how can you close the door? I'm begging you, just let me in." "Wah, I can't take it anymore. I really can't take it anymore. Please let me in. I promise I won't move. I swear on my dignity that if you touch me, you'll be a beast." All the experts looked at the 9th tomb in bewilderment. What the F***CK was going on? Long Chi and the others' mouths twitched. It was that kid's voice. What was he doing? Could it be that he was doing that inside the tomb? Then another miserable shriek came from the 9th tomb, causing the experts' mouths to twitch. "If there's an inheritance, we should all take it together. How can you take it all by yourself? Don't open the door. If you don't open the door, I'll take it. I'll really take it. If you have the ability to run, why don't you? Hey, why did you spray water at me? You even sprayed on my face?" This was too F***king intolerable. "I can't take it anymore. Do you believe that I won't take out my gun and kill you? Don't go too far. It's fine if you don't let me in, but why did you spray water at me?" Suddenly, a yellow-robed fatty in the air gulped and said, "What kind of inheritance is this? Give me one too." The 2 beautiful female battle emperors beside him rolled their eyes. "What are you thinking? You're dreaming." Chapter 560. Azura Shrine. The golden spear smashed the door more than a dozen times, but the door did not budge at all. Not even a crack was left on it. Whoosh, whoosh. Lin Shan's mouth twitched when he saw the hundreds of Azura half-emperors brandishing their weapons. He transformed into moonlight and dodged dozens of attacks. The chi of these half-step Azura emperors is getting stronger and stronger. If they are allowed to accumulate their chi to the peak, they might be able to fight against a combat emperor of the mid-second level, or even a late second level, even surpassing the second level of the combat emperor realm, and is comparable to the third level of the combat emperor realm. Lin Shan was forced to retreat again and again by the Shura half-emperors. He held his battle spear in his hand with a solemn expression. The gate has been completely closed. The spatial enchantment that leads to the outside world has also been closed, and the Azure Dragon is not by my side. Is there no other choice but to fight to the death? Lin Shan suddenly took a deep breath. His thoughts instantly became clear and transparent. Battle. Break through the current predicament. Lin Shan's body emanated an unyielding and lofty battle intent. He suddenly realized that the killing intent of these Azura half-emperors wasn't as terrifying as before. This child is worth teaching. This human has brought out his battle intent. She's not bad. Unfortunately, she's a human. A few voices could be heard faintly in the air. Since we can't retreat, then let's fight. Thousand devils pierce the heart. Lin Shun shouted, activating the ultimate moment. He had reached the peak of the half-emperor stage by unleashing all 9 apocalyptic battle constitutions. Lin Shun wielded the 5 dragons' imperial spear with both hands, thrusting over 100 times at lightning speed. The dazzling dark spear auras were flashing with the 5-color dragon auras and the 5 types of apocalyptic battle auras. They turned into spear auras that pierced through the void. Bang! Bang! Clang! Clang! The sound of metal clashing against metal resounded. The spear light was like a dragon emerging from the sea, and it crashed into the bodies of the Azura half-emperors. It was as heavy as a falling star, and it pushed them back dozens of steps. Whoosh! Saber light flashed. Many Azura half-emperors swung their sabers diagonally. Bright and sharp energy sabers danced in the air like snowflakes. Extreme lack of water light, dark lightning leaf. The 2 doppelgangers instantly appeared, drawing their bows and drawing their swords. Once again, they activated extreme return to origin and ultimate moment. Lin Shun once again struck out with his spear, directly facing all of the Azura half-emperors. The water moon sword, which was moving in extreme speed, was like a horizontal beam of rainbow light that illuminated the world. The dim light of lightning, which flashed with faint shadows of leaves, condensed into an arrow light and shot out, tearing apart many sharp saber auras. 2 powerful energies collided with each other, causing the white jade plaza to tremble on the verge of collapse. Thousand desert of soul light. Limit convergence was activated once more. Another figure that held a saber slashed open space with his saber, and then a storm of saber chi that emanated Earth Tribulation battle chi surged into the surroundings. As the violent and heavy saber chi raged, it formed a tornado of saber chi that reached over 3 kilometers into the sky, and it suppressed over 10 Azura half-emperors. The other 2 clones drew their bows and drew their swords. They attacked the many Azura half-emperors from the left and right. With a spear in hand, Lin Shun charged straight into the enemy's den. He flapped his purple phoenix wings and charged into the crowd of Azura half-emperors. Was he going to charge in alone and risk his life? His spear sent an Azura half-emperor's arm flying. Then he swept his spear diagonally and swept his spear horizontally, knocking 2 Azura half-emperors away. Boom! Their auras were like ferocious tigers dashing down the mountain. 20 Shura demi-emperors slashed at Lin Shun in an orderly manner. Lin Shun raised his arms and parried with his battle spear, blocking the 20 saber astral sabers that slashed at him furiously. Brilliant Devil's Fury. The Brilliant Devil's battle chi above Lin Chen's head ignited a sea of fire. The 9 tribulations battle chi in his body instantly entered a state of detonation. This was similar to the 9 tribulations transformations method of detonating the heavenly tribulation battle body. Lin Shun had perfectly fused it with his battle skill, and the battle skill's original power had undergone a qualitative transformation. Its power was not inferior to a mid-grade purple rank spear technique's attack. The spear pierced through the void. When the penetration and charging runes were activated, the dark fire spear light rotated and shot out. The spear pierced through the 4 seas and completely pierced through a dozen Azura half-emperors. Clang! 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 The penetration runes completely penetrated their Azura armors and destroyed the energy inside their bodies. The Azura armors started to drop one by one. Success! The penetration runes can really penetrate their armors. Lin Shun was overjoyed. He took all the Azura armors in one go. These treasures were worth 10,000 firmament dollars each. He had earned more than 100,000 firmament dollars in one go. The murderous aura attacked again. Lin Shun used another 2,800 talent points to activate the ultimate restoration and fought with the Azura half-emperors again. Lin Shan only managed to defeat all the Azura half-emperors after an hour of intense battle. He had used up a lot of talent points, as these guys did not drop any attribute light balls. Lin Shan had used up more than 10,000 runes energy and more than 50,000 talent points to maintain the full power of all his doppelgangers. However, Lin Shan did not feel that he had suffered a loss. He had collected a total of 113 Azura armors. If he took them back to the Firmament Tower and submitted the mission, he would be rewarded with 13 million Firmament dollars. He was rich. He was richer than most of the Combat Emperors on the Combat Emperor board in Main City number 2. The premise is that I can get out of here alive. Otherwise, I won't be alive to spend my money. After putting away the storage ring full of Azura armors, Lin Shan looked around for a way forward. Then, faint applause sounded in the void. Clap, clap, clap. Wonderful, wonderful. I thought that no living creature would ever pass this level. I didn't expect that we would encounter one. 2 vague mental shadows appeared, and Lin Shan's pupils contracted. These 2 shadows had the mental strength of the reaching heaven realm. Young friend, may I know your name? A blue-haired shadow asked while cupping his fists. Lin Shan cupped his fists and said in a neither servile nor overbearing tone, Lin Shan of the spiritual state. Oh, you are a genius from the spiritual state, the most uncivilized continent. Not bad. You are qualified to be our inheritor. Hee. There's an Azura statue beside the gate of the godly palace. Break it, and you will enter the 100 Emperors' Palace of Azura. After passing the 100 Emperors' Palace, you will get the other half of the inheritance in this tomb. The green-robed shadow smiled while stroking his beard. Lin Shan was confused. What about the other half? Of course, the other half was taken away by the girl from before. She has the Azura Blood Jade Scroll, and only those who have helped the Azura clan can have it. She must have come from the sacred boundary of the human race. Sacred boundary? Lin Shan raised his eyebrows. No wonder that woman in a simple dress could take his spear head-on with the strength of a half-step emperor. She came from the sacred boundary. Although he didn't use the ultimate moment, she didn't use her full strength either. Those who enter the 100 Emperors' Palace of Azura will either die in there forever or defeat all 100 Battle Emperor level undead Azuras and leave. Human boy, you still have a choice. As the green-robed shadow talked and laughed, Lin Shan's heart skipped a beat. Defeat 100 Battle Emperor level undead Azuras? The blue-haired man waved his hand, and a space tunnel appeared. It's not too late to leave now, the blue-haired man said indifferently, but there was a hint of ridicule in the corner of his mouth. Lin Shan stared at the space tunnel, and when he activated his purple-golden pupils, he saw countless black lines in the tunnel. It was like the aura of death in hell. It was the death luck. If I choose this spatial tunnel, it's very likely that I'll die inside, right? All of a sudden, Lin Shan said with a carefree smile, startling the 2 spiritual illusions. This brat had actually seen through their intentions. Ha ha! Interesting indeed. No wonder you are a human who defeated 100 Azura warriors. You are right. The inheritance of the Azura clan has never been passed down to cowards. If you want to leave, you'll die. From the moment you stepped in here, you only have one choice. The blue-haired figure smiled. Lin Shan exhaled. His eyes were sharp as he smiled faintly. Fight all the way, win all the way. Advance with indomitable will. Chapter 561. Lin Shan punched out like a dragon, shattering the Azura statue with a single punch. Chi! The space cracked open, and a space tunnel extended out, leading to an endless abyss. Lin Shan, who was activating his purple-golden eyes, saw that this space tunnel was filled with endless death. The result of this tunnel was also death. Lin Shan smiled. Coward, you don't have the right to talk about freedom. Then Lin Shan jumped down. The space tunnel trembled, then rotated and disappeared. How many years has it been? Finally, There is an inheritor who dares to challenge the Shura Palace of 100 Emperors. Don't celebrate too early. Those guys are not to be trifled with. That brat is most likely going to die, although his potential is strong, and he's at the peak of our Azura clan's younger generation. He's still too young. Haha, let's wait and see. I think this kid has a lot of secrets. The two spiritual phantoms looked at each other and smiled. Then, the temple returned to silence. After teleporting, Lin Chun landed on the ground. This place was the first royal palace. It was dimly lit, and within the vast palace, there was only a 50-foot-tall figure standing proudly with an aura that could cover the heavens and earth. Finally, there's an inheritor who dares to challenge my race. Kid, tell me your name. Rumble. Clang. The figure shook his spear, and the sound was like a wave, shaking the entire hall. Jiuzhou Continent, human race's spirit state, Lin Chun. Senior Shura Sovereign, please enlighten me. Lin Chun took out the 5 dragons' imperial spear. His heroic spirit soared to the heavens as he laughed heartily. With a thought, he instantly activated the triple transformation. The purple phoenix wings flapped as he charged towards the other party. Human race's Lin Chun, come at me. The towering figure held the battle aura spear and stabbed it in the air. When the two spears collided, the entire hall shook. Lin Chun swung his spear, and the two sides fought fiercely. No matter how strong his opponent was, Lin Chun had his own extreme speed to break through his spear techniques. Even so, Lin Chun still fought for nearly 1,000 rounds. Boom, boom. The spear light transformed into a rainbow light, piercing through the chest of the tall phantom. The last spear, brilliant devil's wrath, pierced through that towering figure. Lin Chun had won the first battle. Although the other party was only at the early stage of the first level of the War Emperor, his strength was quite strong. The first Imperial Palace is already so strong. I'm afraid that I'll have to use my trump cards to deal with the fourth Imperial Palace. Lin Chun frowned. The difficulty of the Azura 100 Emperor's Palace had exceeded his expectations. Ha ha ha. Awesome, awesome. Although I can only use 50% of my strength in the tomb after I die, you didn't use your full strength, did you? The towering figure appeared once again, but it seemed even more illusory. Senior, you're too polite. If you were still alive, I would definitely have used all my trump cards. Lin Chun cupped his fists and smiled. The terror of the Azura clan was something that Lin Chun had personally experienced. Even though he was only at the early stage of the first level of the War Emperor, he was still very strong. If he was still at his peak, he would be able to fight against an ordinary late stage of the first level of the War Emperor. Enough with the pleasantries. Accept the inheritance. The Azura phantom pointed at Lin Chun, and a sea of memories rushed into his mind. Detected that a battle technique inheritance has entered the host's mind. The system automatically consumed 1,500 mid-level cultivation technique essence to speed up the inheritance process. The cultivation memories merged into Lin Chun's mind at lightning speed. Other than the cultivation memories, there was also a torrent of battle chi that flowed into Lin Chun's natal palace crystal. Azura clan's spear technique, 100 Spear Battle Emperor, first style, defying life and death. The Azura phantom looked at Lin Chun with gratification and was about to take a rest. Lin Chun suddenly opened his eyes and exclaimed, "What a domineering spear technique!" Seeing this, the Azura phantom's eyes widened, and he stood there in a daze. What's going on? The inheritance was completed just like that? It hadn't even been the time to brew a cup of tea, and this kid had learned it so quickly? Little guy, have you learned it? The Azura phantom asked in bewilderment. Lin Chun smiled and didn't say anything. He decisively held the golden battle spear in his hand and thrust it forward several times. The spear's trajectory was domineering and fierce, and it was arrogant and unafraid of death. Silence, a strange silence. The Azura phantom stared at Lin Chun as if he had seen a ghost. A genius. No, a godly talent. A world-shaking godly talent. Sacred boundary? No, The geniuses of my Azura clan are not inferior to the geniuses of the human race in the sacred boundary. They can't be compared to this kid at all. Could he be from the divine world? Thinking of a possibility, the Azura Phantom asked Lin Chen seriously, "Human kid, are you from the human race's divine world?" Lin Chen was stunned when he heard this question. He guessed that the speed at which he activated the system to accept the inheritance was too fast. Did it arouse the Phantom's suspicion? How should he answer this question? He couldn't say that he had a system, right? And the Phantom was asking about the divine world. He had never heard of the divine world. What kind of relationship did he have with the divine world? He hadn't even been to the sacred boundary. Moreover, he didn't know the Phantom's actual situation. If the Azura clan and the human race in the divine world had some grudges, and he chose the wrong side, this was the Azura temple. He would be slapped to death in minutes. Thinking of this, Lin Shun was ambiguous. He raised his head 45 degrees and said with melancholy in his eyes, "Senior, don't mention this word. Everyone has to have some secrets." The Azura Phantom was shocked. This kid was really related to the divine world? The divine world, any random existence that walked out of it could destroy a plane or a civilization. It was their honor to have a living being from the divine world accept the inheritance of their Azura clan. I didn't expect that our Azura clan would pick up a treasure this time. The Azura Phantom's heart was in turmoil. He waved his hand, and the door of the Imperial Palace opened, leading to the next Imperial Palace. Lin Shun, "Kid, the 100 Spears Fighting Emperor is divided into 100 styles. Every time you defeat an Azura War Emperor, you will receive one style of inheritance. With the 100 styles combined, your power will be limitless. As for how much power it will have, it will depend on how much you can comprehend. At the very least, it won't lose to the top martial arts of the human race in the Jojo continent." The Azura's silhouette smiled with a hint of pride. "Then I'll wait and see." Lin Chen's figure flashed, and he jumped into the spatial passage of the Second Imperial Palace. Then, in the spatial passage, he opened the soul-receiving rings of the two false god descendants of the Jian family. "System, break down all the cultivation methods in these two storage rings for me." Consumed 3,900 Heaven's Path points to analyze all the cultivation techniques in the target's soul-receiving rings. Received 37,500 intermediate cultivation technique essences. Lin Shen looked at the 150,000 intermediate cultivation technique essences that he still had. His expression was solemn. This time, he was in urgent need of cultivation technique essences in the 100 Emperor's Temple. This 100 Spears Fighting Emperor, Lin Shen guessed that it was a battle skill of high purple rank or above. Chapter 562. Throughout the history of the 9 states, high-level purple tier techniques had only appeared a dozen or so times. Top purple tier techniques were even rarer. Even if he had the Shura War Emperor's memories, he would have to use up a large amount of mid-level technique essence to pass down this technique. In the Shura Palace of 100 Emperors, other than the inheritance of battle techniques, I can also obtain the Shura race's battle chi. If I can pass down the inheritance a few more times, I will be able to reach late-stage 9th tier in one go. Lin Shen was excited. The space tunnel split open, and he once again descended into the Second Imperial Palace. This time, it was a tall female Shura holding a battle spear. Her back was facing Lin Shen, and she looked valiant and heroic. "It's actually a human. Forget it, the strong are the kings. Take this." The tall female Shura's eyes turned cold, and killing intent appeared on her cold face. The illusory battle spear in her hand swept down diagonally. 4th tier transformation. Lin Shen's aura surged, and he suddenly activated the 4th tier transformation. 2 afterimages turned into divine lights that could shatter heaven and earth, flashing and colliding in the palace. The 2 battle spears collided, and the female Shura's spear strikes were very heavy. The female Shura's illusory figure spun like a top, and she spun her spear around. The 9 tribulations battle chi surged and burned, turning into 9 battle wheels that rose above Lin Chen's head. They spun and flicked dozens of times, and the 9 types of heavenly calamity battle chi turned into spear shadows like a torrential storm, crushing layer by layer. After hundreds of rounds of bitter battle, Lin Shun created an opportunity for the Shura's fury to attack, and his spear pierced through her body. Good spear techniques. You would be one of the best in my race. This is the inheritance of the second style. Take it. When the female Shura's illusory figure appeared again, she became even more illusory. She pointed her finger lightly, and a stream of light rushed into Lin Chen's forehead. A burning energy like a fire dragon entered Lin Chen's body. In addition to the inheritance memories, there was also a sea of blood, energy, and pure battle chi. Boom! The vast battle chi natal palace condensed into 9 colored crystals. This was the 7th natal palace crystal. Lin Shun had reached late-stage 9th tier transformation. If he could condense 2 more battle chi crystals, he would become a half-step emperor. Lin Shen's pure strength rose to 990,000 dragon power after absorbing the blood essence energy. With the divine power user's buff, it was now 999,999 dragon power. He was only 1 step away from becoming a body-refining emperor. What? This kid's inheritance is so fast? The female Azura was dumbfounded. Lin Shan waved his hand and jumped into the spatial passage of the 3rd palace. He waved his hand and thanked the female Azura. Thank you for your guidance, Senior. Senior's purple pattern is very beautiful. The female Shura was stunned. She lowered her head and looked at her broken leg armor. A look of shame and anger appeared on her face. This little human hooligan. In the 3rd Imperial Palace, the Azura War Emperor's silhouette had a sturdy back and a strong waist. His aura was domineering, and his blood chi was burning like a wild dragon. To be able to leave such a powerful blood chi fluctuation after his death, he must have been a body refinement emperor when he was alive. Lin Shun landed on the ground, and with full concentration, he activated the quintuple transformation. He had temporarily reached the limit of the half-emperor realm. Boom, boom, boom. The Azura War Emperor's silhouette had gained the upper hand. His aura was like an army of thousands of horses trampling over. It was as if he was going to trample thousands of miles of mountains and rivers. A peerless spear that could suppress the world came crashing down. Blazing demon, fury, 100 spear, fighting emperor, life reversal. Lin Chen's anger shook the heavens. The imperial palace shook and collapsed. He used all his strength to unleash 2 killer moves. They collided with each other. This time, the outcome was decided in 1 move. Lin Shun was gasping for breath. The 2 full-powered spear strikes had exhausted all of his battle chi. The situation was special, and he didn't dare to use ultimate origin restoration. This was because there were no attribute light balls here. Once he used them all, his talent points would be gone. As expected of the inheritor that my race has been waiting for. This is the 3rd move of the 100 spear fighting emperor. Take it. The Azura War Emperor looked at Lin Chen approvingly. With a wave of his hand, 3 streams of light merged into Lin Chen's body. They were battle chi enlightenment, blood essence fusion, and memory inheritance. Lin Shun used the skill essence and received the inheritance with lightning speed. Following that, he activated the decomposition function. Host used 530 Heaven's Path points to decompose 16 types of 6th grade herbs and 2 types of 7th grade herbs. Received 29,850 battle chi essence, 89 water type energy, decomposing herbs. This was the first step for Lin Shun to replenish his energy. In the Azura Imperial Palace, he could only move forward without any resources to replenish his energy. Elixirs and other resources to replenish his energy were all very precious. Not to mention the fact that he could use ultimate restoration, a purple grade talent. Lin Shun did not dare to waste any of his resources. Even if he had to use Heaven's Path points to decompose the herbs, he did not plan to use the elixirs or use ultimate restoration. Lin Shun was left with 420,000 talent points. Lin Shun was left with 280,000 rune energy points. Lin Shun was left with 240,000 Heaven's Path points. These attribute values were all thanks to killing the 2 War Emperor's descendants and injuring the 5th-level Combat Emperor's Grey-Robed Elder. Lin Shun wanted to rely on these attribute points to last until the final Azura Imperial Palace. The 5th Palace, the 6th Palace. Finally, Lin Shun met an opponent in the 7th Palace. Relying on the 5th-level transformation, he could no longer pass the 7th Palace. Lin Shun began to use his illusory runes. His doppelganger wielded the Elysian Moon Heavenly Raising Saber. With a saber and a spear, he fought alongside his doppelganger. Lin Shun broke through 4 Imperial Palaces in a row. He fought and won all the way. However, when he reached the 12th Imperial Palace, his opponent was once a late 1st-level Combat Emperor. Even after his death, his battle experience alone made him unbelievably strong. Just relying on one doppelganger was not enough. Lin Shun activated the 2nd doppelganger, wielding the white frost green rainbow. 1 main body, 2 doppelganger. After a fierce battle, he broke through the 19th Imperial Palace. On the 20th Imperial Palace, Lin Shun met a silver-armored Azura. His main body and 2 doppelganger fought for a long time. Finally, the 3rd doppelganger was used. With the help of the myriad star Thunder Fury Bow, Lin Shun was like a hot knife through butter. The effect of 1 + 1 was far greater than 2. Not to mention, there were 4 Lin Shuns working together. Lin Shun did not know how much time had passed in the outside world. He only knew how to fight. Fight. Endless battles. Only by fighting all the way could he survive. There was nothing he did not fight and nothing he did not win. Time flew by like a white steed. Lin Shun was immersed in endless battles, as if he could not rest for even a moment. Once he stopped, he would recover. He would recover with limited resources. Lin Shun broke through to the 40th Imperial Palace in a single breath. Finally, at the 42nd Imperial Palace, his opponent's strength was already between the 2nd-level Combat Emperor and the 1st-level Combat Emperor. Even if the 3 doppelganger and main body worked together, they still could not shake him. The Imperial Palace in the future was not something that could be passed through by relying on numbers alone. Lin Shun's trump cards were finally revealed one by one. He began to use the 5th-level recharge rune. Along with the doppelganger's battle, the 5th-level recharge rune was only used at the most crucial moment. The 50th Imperial Palace. Lin Shun could not keep up with the speed of recovering his battle chi by relying on the mental cultivation method alone. He activated the ultimate restoration for the first time in the Imperial Palace. Chapter 563. In the process of challenging the 100 Emperor's Palace alone, Lin Shun's gains were also not small. His strength was steadily increasing step by step. Compared to before entering the palace, he was more than several times stronger. However, his cultivation was already completely locked in the domain of Half-Step Emperor and 990,000 Dragon Power Points. Because as long as he took another step, he would be a War Emperor. Lin Shun was waiting for this opportunity. The 60th Palace. His opponent's strength had already reached the mid-second layer when he was alive. From here on out, defeating each Azura War Emperor was incomparably difficult for Lin Shun. Their battle experience and other factors were completely above his. However, the best opponent was actually the best teacher. Lin Shun learned too many battle techniques from these Azura War Emperors. In the 68th Palace, even if he activated the charging rune, the damage he could cause to the Azura War Emperor was negligible. Lin Shun finally brought out another trump card, the Penetration Rune. Charging paired with Penetration, the 2 great characteristic runes displayed their might. He broke through the 74th Palace all the way. In the 75th Palace, Lin Shun encountered a purple-robed Azura war emperor. His cultivation was close to the late second layer when he was alive. Even if he died and became a phantom, his battle prowess was still unmatched. Lin Shun was beaten back again and again the moment he came up. Even his three great clones were almost blown apart. Finally, Lin Shun entered the final moment. With his clones assisting, his main body went all out. Breaking through to the 85th palace, his three great clones and main body all entered the final moment. Lin Shun brought out all of his battle prowess. In the 88th palace, Lin Shun defeated a red-haired Azura with monstrous killing intent. The talent points and rune energy in his system were already almost depleted. Lin Shun sat cross-legged in the void to adjust his breathing. His expression was unprecedentedly cold, without a trace of emotion existing. There was absolutely no trace of his previous frivolous appearance. Along the way, Lin Shun did not know how many high-intensity battles he had experienced. There was practically no rest interval. This Azura 100 Emperor's Palace's inheritance was simply not a level for people to obtain. Just this battle alone was enough to exhaust any peerless genius to death. This inheritance was originally only suitable for the Azura race, which was a combative race. The Azura race rarely cultivated. They usually achieved breakthroughs in battle, gained epiphanies in battle, and advanced in battle. Fighting was the only way for them to train. I still have 130,000 rune energy left and only 70,000 talent points left. At this rate, I'll have to use the delaying rune in the next palace to defeat my opponent. The remaining attribute points won't be enough for me to pass the 100th palace. Lin Shun's heart was cold and calm as countless thoughts surged through his mind. If he wanted to survive, there was only one possibility. Then let's see if death will catch up with me, Lin Shun, or if I, Lin Shun, will break through to the War Emperor realm first. Lin Shun gripped the Five Dragons' imperial spear that was floating in the void. The spear's body summoned its owner's fighting spirit and throbbed. Gazing at Lin Shun, who jumped into the spatial tunnel without hesitation, the red-haired Azura exclaimed in surprise. What an outstanding young man. He doesn't even have the strength of an emperor realm, yet he could make it all the way here. How good would it be if he was a young man from my Azura race? The spatial barrier of the 89 palaces was on the verge of collapse. A blue-clothed Azura, Lin Shun, and the three phantoms that had entered the final moment were engaged in a fierce battle. In the end, Lin Shun used a level 5 delaying rune to create a gap in the battle and defeated his opponent in an instant. Lin Shun entered the 90th palace and was completely suppressed by a golden-armored Azura. This was an Azura War Emperor who had the strength of an early 3rd Heavenly Layer combat Emperor when he was alive. Even after death, his strength was still comparable to an early 3rd Heavenly Layer combat Emperor. Lin Shun had no way to retreat. He used the level 5 delaying rune 3 times in a row to create a chance for victory. At this moment, he only had 50,000 rune energy left. Just a little more, and I'll be able to touch the boundary of the War Emperor realm. Lin Shun narrowed his eyes. This time, he didn't choose to rest. After accepting the inheritance, he jumped into the spatial passage. In the 91 palaces, the silver-haired Azura was majestic. He held the giant dragon war spear and looked down at Lin Shun with arrogance. Dark thunder sky, piercing arrow. A purple lightning arrow shot out like a shooting star. It was mixed with dark light as it pierced through the galaxy and shot towards the silver-haired Azura. Lin Shun used his full strength as soon as they met. The silver-haired Azura's eyes turned cold. He instantly turned his spear and waved it furiously. Clang! Rumble! The dragon roared like thunder. The light of the arrow dispersed. Lin Shun's strongest arrow was dispersed by the spear. Lin Shun and his illusions continued to activate the final moment and rushed forward together. The human race also wants to take away my inheritance? Die! The spear technique covered the sky and danced wildly. It was like a tidal wave that killed a flock of fallen feathers. Lin Chen's expression changed slightly. He pulled the tip of the spear, and the white frost and green rainbow sword clashed with the Nethermoon heavenly saber again and again. Poochie! Lin Chen's mouth was bleeding. He gritted his teeth and persevered. This Azura War Emperor was already stronger than the black-robed War Emperor that Yun Mingqing invited back then. He was stronger than most of the early third-stage human war emperors. At this time, 9 war chi calamity wheels suddenly shone with endless light from Lin Chen's body. This is... Lin Chen was stunned. Then, he became ecstatic. Nirvana moment? This kid actually got the best opportunity to advance. The silver-haired Azura's expression was both strange and amazed. The Nirvana moment was a rare opportunity that could only appear when a living being's life, potential, and cultivation potential were stimulated to the extreme. Triggering this opportunity would increase the chances of entering the War Emperor realm by 30%. 30% chance. This concept only existed in the Nirvana moment. No miraculous pills or high-grade pills in the mortal world could do it. However, what a pity. I'm not a good person. I hate you humans very much. This Nirvana moment is your chance to die. There's no way I'll give you a chance to advance. The silver-haired Azura sneered. Just as he was about to follow up with another attack, a cracking sound came from Lin Chen's body. Shattering your own natal palace crystal? You want to force your way into the War Emperor realm? Lin Chen's act of cutting off all means of retreat completely baffled the silver-haired Azura. What a ruthless person. He was definitely a lunatic. Even if there was a Nirvana moment, breaking through to the War Emperor realm was a gamble of life and death. He was actually able to bet his own life without hesitation. If it was him, he wouldn't even be 1/10 as straightforward as this human kid. In terms of craziness, Lin Chen, was not afraid of anyone. You really scared me. However, you're advancing in the middle of a battle. Are you looking down on me? Do you think I'll give you this chance? After sending 2 of Lin Chen's doppelgangers flying, the silver-haired Azura roared and charged towards Lin Chen. Lin Chen pulled his golden spear and charged towards the silver-haired Azura without any fear. He smiled coldly. The path I want to take has been decided from the beginning. Let's see if you kill me first, or if I advance into the War Emperor realm first. Chapter 564. 8 months had passed since the opening of the 9 Azura tombs. In these 8 months, most of the experts had left. Most of them stayed behind to watch the show or to pick up the treasures. Because the 3 of them were still here, Long Qi and the other 2 late 5th-layer combat emperors. There must be something fishy that could make them stay outside the 9 Azura tombs for so long. Who knows? They might even have a fortuitous encounter after waiting for a while. Therefore, there were still more than 10 combat emperors left. 8 months was nothing to them, as they had lived for tens of thousands of years. The 9 Azura tombs' spatial barrier had covered the tombs once again. No one could enter and exit the tombs. After 1,000 years, the tombs would open again. Suddenly, the sky and earth changed. This aura alerted all the combat emperors who were hiding in the dark, as well as Long Qi and the other 2. Dark clouds appeared and the sky shook. Lightning flashed and the wind danced wildly. Streaks of auroras intertwined with each other. 999 streaks of dragon-shaped flames converged into a fire pillar. 999 streaks of water tribulations formed a heavenly net like a waterfall, and 999 streaks of golden energy transformed into a golden shield that enveloped the entire sky. 999 streaks of wood tribulation chi broke out from the ground and formed thousands of branches. Within 100,000 li, a sea of trees descended. 999 streaks of earth tribulation, true mountain chi, formed a 10,000 zhang tall mountain. All of this happened in a few breaths' time. Between the heaven and earth, 9 streaks of heavenly tribulation battle chi appeared. It was as if there were 9 heavenly palaces, each higher than the previous one. These streaks of luck rushed into the endless void, out of the firmament tower, and out of the 9 continents. This is the aura of an emperor. Someone has become an emperor. That's not right. When I became an emperor, I wasn't that abnormal. I'm not even 1/10,000th of this. This is strange. This is the area around the 9 Azura tombs. It's very dangerous. Why would someone below the combat emperor realm come here? The combat emperors who were hiding in the dark were all curious and confused. Only Long Chi and the other 2 were staring at the 9th tomb of the 9 Azura tombs. It can't be wrong. There are no creatures below the combat emperor realm nearby. It must be that little bastard. He became a combat emperor in such a short time. Did he obtain the inheritance of the 9th tomb? Damn it. Throughout the hundreds of thousands of years of history of the 9 continents and the firmament tower, I have never seen such a phenomenon. This kid's potential is too terrifying. He must be killed. We must kill him. No matter how strong he is just a young man who has just entered the combat emperor realm. If the 3 of us work together, as long as he shows himself, we will definitely be able to kill him. Spiritual state, 9 continents, in a heavenly song academy, above a palace in the sky that pierced the clouds, a beautiful figure dressed in white fluttered in the wind. The beauty seemed to have sensed something. She suddenly turned her head and looked in a certain direction as she softly muttered, "The aura of this heavenly tribulation battle chi. Could it be that little guy? What a terrifying emperor bestowment phenomenon. This has probably alarmed all the top-notch experts in the continent of the 9 provinces. Perhaps even some forces in the sacred boundary have been alarmed. It's only been a year. How much have you grown?" The vice president gasped in amazement, and the corner of her beautiful lips faintly lifted. "The false gods who once coveted this continent. It won't be long before your opponents appear." On a godly mountain, a majestic figure suddenly flashed by. It was bright, majestic, and merciful, as if it was the embodiment of all the sacred auras in the world. It was inviolable. That direction is the interior of the firmament tower. Could it be that the people of the sacred boundary have secretly come to the 9 provinces to train their juniors? If the people of the sacred boundary come, they will just start another war. We are true gods. What do we have to fear? The anger shook the universe, and the entire world shook. On the godly mountain, those peerlessly beautiful statues revealed a despairing beauty. They reflected this sacred world and added a bit of withered yellow and gloomy coldness. Sacred boundary, cloud sky in all directions, Wuji Palace. Inside the palace, a handsome young man with a faint green jade embellished between his eyebrows was holding a cup of hot tea with a leisurely expression as he watched the chess game in front of him. Contrary to his youthful appearance, the young man's eyebrows were full of vicissitudes, as if he was an old man in deep thought. Suddenly, the young man looked at the dense clouds in the distance and asked in confusion, strange. Why is there such a phenomenon? Is someone becoming a saint? Palace Master, what's wrong?" Sitting opposite him, a white-haired old man holding a horsetail whisk smiled and said with a sage-like demeanor. The young man's expression suddenly changed from confusion to seriousness, and finally to shock. "No, it's not becoming a saint, but an emperor. What kind of monstrous talent is this? The opportunity to create an emperor phenomenon can actually spread to the sacred boundary. Could it be that a divine son has become an emperor? That direction is the human world, the 9 provinces continent. A divine son has descended. Send an envoy to find out." Sacred boundary, Tianchu River. In a white jade pavilion on a holy mountain, the old man's eyes suddenly became especially sharp. The emperor phenomenon's aura has actually spread to the sacred boundary. This is unheard of. Men, send an envoy to the human world's 9 provinces continent. Grand Elder, may I ask if you want to send a saint or... No, those below the saint realm must be sent to avoid alerting those fellows hiding in the dark. On this day, the sacred boundary shook. The 9th Azura tomb, the 91st Imperial Palace. The silver-haired Azura looked disheveled as he stared at the young man in front of him in disbelief. What kind of strength is this? Kid, what kind of cultivation technique are you practicing? As if he didn't hear the silver-haired battle emperor's question, the silver-robed young man who was standing in the void revealed an intoxicated expression. Lin Shun looked around his body. All of his battle chi natal palaces had disappeared, but his entire body was as if it had been created by the heavens and the earth. It was a work of the gods, and it was ever-changing. His every meridian was filled with energy that felt like rivers converging into oceans. His every bone contained mountains and rivers. His every inch of flesh and blood was filled with the energy that could shatter the void. His entire body seemed to have surpassed the level and concept of the mortal body and had been reborn and transformed in an unprecedented way. This is the Battle Emperor realm. Lin Shun clenched his fists and stared at his heart. There was a new battle chi profound wheel that looked like a crescent moon. It had 9 colors and was filled with the power of the heavenly tribulation. Even Lin Shun, who was the master of the battle chi profound wheel, felt a lingering fear. This was the battle chi profound wheel. When the natal palaces were shattered, they would become battle chi and condense the battle emperor's body. If the transformation was successful, it would become a battle emperor. The battle emperor's body had the power to see through life and death, and had a lifespan of almost 100,000 years. Lin Shun raised his hand and punched the silver-haired Azura without activating any battle techniques. It was as if 10,000 dragons were roaring and the heavenly tribulation had arrived. The silver-haired Azura's expression changed slightly. He turned the tip of his spear and swung it at Lin Chen's battle chi, causing the surrounding space to tremble. Not only have I reached the Battle Emperor realm, but my pure strength has also reached one. 25 million dragon power points. Ha ha! Lin Chen couldn't help but laugh out loud. In the end, he looked up to the sky and laughed hysterically. This was the first time he had laughed so heartily since he entered the Azura Palace of 100 Emperors, a 21-year-old battle emperor, unparalleled in history. At this moment, a light screen popped out from the system. Congratulations to the host for reaching the Battle Emperor realm. The system's special reward mechanism has been triggered. The generous reward has been released. Please check it. Chapter 565. A brand new, pure, white elemental ball of light appeared before Lin Chen's eyes and entered between his eyebrows. This blank elemental caused him to be completely stunned. What kind of attribute is this? It can be converted into other attributes? Who cares what attribute it is? At least I, Brother Chun, am still alive. I want to see who else in the Shura Palace can stop me. Lin Chen's aura shook the entire palace. The 5 dragons' imperial spear flew into Lin Chen's hand. Lin Shun could now perfectly unleash the true power of the 5 dragons' imperial spear. After breaking through to the combat emperor realm, Lin Chen's battle chi cultivation base was several times stronger than before. It was tens of times, or even close to 100 times stronger. Previously, he had to rely on various methods to fight against the first and second stage combat emperors. Now, he had to use all his trump cards to fight against the third stage combat emperors. Boom, 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 swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Lin Chen's purple phoenix wings flapped loudly. He was so fast that the silver-haired combat emperor could not react in time. 7th style of fighting emperor, rolling waves. The battle spear danced, and like a rolling wave, it came crashing down. The battle chi of the heavenly calamity turned into waves of spear shadows. The silver-haired Shura was shocked. This move was almost flawless. 100 spears of fighting emperor, dragon's defense break. The spear turned into a dragon and charged forward. The chaotic spear shadows were crazily attacking. Lin Chun twisted his wrist and changed his spear technique again. 9th style of fighting emperor, water rending. The spear moved like water, but it exuded an extremely strong and sharp aura. It could be soft and hard at the same time. A section of water split life and death as it cut across the sky. After tearing apart the dragon spear's shadow, the spear smashed down and smashed into the silver-haired Azura's shoulder, breaking it apart inch by inch. 2 moves. Lin Shan only used 2 moves to defeat the Shura, who was comparable to the 3rd stage combat emperor. He didn't even use his trump cards like the Azura 9 Brilliance transformations. Along the way, Lin Shan had learned too much combat experience and skills in the Azura 100 Emperor's Palace. His spear technique already had a kind of transcendent charm, together with the enhancement of his 9 apocalyptic bodies and the pure strength of his identity as a body-refining emperor. He was terrifyingly fast. The current Lin Chun had the confidence to challenge any 3rd or 4th level combat emperor. If he used all 4 of his trump cards, he would even dare to fight someone as strong as a 5th level combat emperor. Of course, it also depended on the quality of the 5th level combat emperor. If the plain-dressed lady he encountered when he entered the palace was at the level of the sacred boundary, then if the opponent was at the 5th level combat emperor, he could only run away. I, Yin Hui, have never submitted to the human race, but today I submit to you, Lin Shun of the spiritual state. You are qualified to receive the inheritance and will of the Shura clan. This is the 91st move of the 100-spear fighting emperor, Dragonbreaker. Take it. With a point of his finger, the silver-haired Shura's figure became more and more transparent. Thousands of pure battle chi poured into Lin Chen's body and nourished his battle chi fate wheel. After consuming another 2,300 cultivation technique essences, Lin Chen obtained the 91st move. In response, Lin Chen secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, it was a combat skill inheritance. If the 100-spear fighting emperor was placed in front of him directly, he wouldn't be able to learn it without at least 1,000,000 intermediate cultivation technique essences. Inherited memories, on the other hand, meant that the other party would imbue the inheritor with the essence of the cultivation method, as well as the essences of various aspects. The consumption of the cultivation method soul essences in this process would only speed up the process. It was not as expensive as the consumption of the cultivation method soul essences when directly learning it. After receiving the spear move, Lin Chen's cultivation realm stabilized a little, and his pure strength increased by 20,000 dragon power points. The speed of the inheritance shocked the silver-haired Shura, Yin Hui. The first time I used the God Slayer innate skill, my cultivation realm was around the 2nd level combat emperor. The second time I used it was between the 4th level and the 3rd level combat emperor. Lin Chen fell into deep thought. Although his cultivation realm wasn't as high as his God Slayer innate skill, his combat strength wasn't weak at all. As long as he activated the illusory rune, he would have 3 super strong doppelgangers that were as strong as him. No, it's 4. Ha ha ha. System, upgrade the illusory rune for me. Consume 20 attribute rune stones. Illusory rune has been upgraded to level 5. 4 illusory doppelgangers with the host battle consciousness can be created. The consumption of rune energy is lower, the effect is stronger, and the ability to resist attacks is increased. Awesome. Damn it, as long as I see Long Chi again, I will definitely peel his skin off. 4 doppelgangers and me, 5 against 1. Even a late 5th level combat emperor would lose a layer of skin. Lin Shun was confident that with 5 of his doppelgangers, even someone as strong as Long Chi would have a hard time. And let's get the inheritance first. There are only 9 imperial palaces left. Let's go all the way. Lin Shun leaped into the spatial passageway and continued on to the next imperial palace. During this period of time, he had been suppressing himself for too long. He had never been in such a high-intensity battle for such a long time. His nerves were completely stretched taut. After all, if he couldn't break through to the War Emperor realm or fail to break through, only death would await him. Now that he had broken through to the War Emperor realm, Lin Shun was exuding confidence at all times. From a 92nd to 99th Imperial Palace, Lin Shan broke through without any hindrance in a single day. In the last imperial palace, in the void, the blue-eyed Azura in golden battle robes looked directly at Lin Shan in the imperial palace and smiled indifferently. To be able to receive one of my attacks without falling into a disadvantageous position, you have passed. Lin Shan, who was about to activate the ultimate moment, was startled. He was a little puzzled. Senior, are we not going to fight after just one attack? Ha ha! Young man of the human race, when you were bestowed the title of Emperor, I had already sensed your aura. Since ancient times, perhaps only the Son of God could suppress you. Compared to the geniuses of the human race in the sacred boundary, you are still considered to be in the upper middle class. Why should I make things difficult for such a person? Our Azura clan has been waiting for a successor for too long. Even if I were to fight with you, my damaged body is very likely to be defeated. Lin Shan was puzzled. Son of God? Chapter 566. Hehe, they're descendants of the bloodline of the gods. Their talents are unparalleled throughout history. Common sense doesn't apply to the deities. Some deities are even born as Yuan venerates and become battle emperors by the time they reach adulthood. The path of cultivation is like a smooth path. Before becoming a sage, there are almost no bottlenecks. The blue-eyed Azura sighed. Lin Shan was shocked. Yuan venerates at birth and battle emperors at adulthood? Could this be a true descendant of the gods? The descendants of the fake gods in the Nine States continent were not even worthy of carrying the shoes of the legendary deities. Seeing the change in his expression, the blue-eyed Azura laughed. Little guy, you don't have to think too much. A 21-year-old battle emperor is already invincible in the Nine States continent. There are only a few in the entire human realm. Even in the sacred boundary, you are still considered a talent. Moreover, you were born on the path of endless killing. You are very suitable for the Azura race. You fight in adversity and live in the face of death. In a way, you are more threatening than those pampered deities. At least in terms of appearance, they have already lost. Lin Shan smiled, but he did not dare to be arrogant. The descendants of the fake gods with the bloodline of the sage were already invincible in the same level. How strong would those with the real divine bloodline be? Not arrogant and not rash. You will become a great person. The blue-eyed Azura looked at Lin Shan with praise. With a wave of his hand, a strand of starlight entered Lin Shan's forehead. Automatically consumed 4,800 cultivation essence points. Speed of inheritance increased. The inheritance of the last move of the 100 Spears Fighting Emperor merged into Lin Shan's mind and body. His battle chief fate wheel rotated slowly, and his cultivation improved slightly. Mid-level, first-level battle emperor. The complete 100 Spears Fighting Emperor had been fused together, and the charm between Lin Shan's eyebrows had a faint murderous aura. This was the unique temperament of the Azura race. Years of battle gave them a pure, murderous aura that ordinary creatures did not have. Their offensive power in battle was far superior to ordinary creatures. TSK, TSK, TSK. As expected, the speed of receiving inheritances is unbelievably fast. Lin Shan of the human race, enter the royal palace and accept the inheritance of my Azura clan. My Azura clan doesn't have many battle inheritances. We only rely on our bloodline to fight. Therefore, we don't have many battle techniques for you. However, we can improve your weapon to the next level. The blue-eyed Azura slashed across the void, and the imperial palace shook. A cauldron pool slowly rose from the cracked ground. Faint blue smoke flowed within the cauldron pool. Pure, killing intent overflowed from it, as well as the pure, gung metal origin. This is... Lin Shan's pupil shrank. Based on his attainments in forging, he could vaguely feel that this item was a masterpiece that could reshape the origin of weapons. This is the Azura Origin Battle Chi. It is a spiritual item that can only be formed when many Azuras fall at the same place. It can purify the battle chi and upgrade the grade of weapons. The blue-eyed Azure's expression suddenly turned serious. Brat, enter the cauldron. Accept the purification. Lin Chen didn't hesitate. He jumped into the giant cauldron. The blurred blue smoke contracted and tightened instantly. It was like an all-pervasive gossamer that entered Lin Chen's body. His 9-colored battle chi fate will began to throb slightly. 9 types of apocalypse battle chi flowed in his fate wheel and were washed and condensed by the blue smoke again and again. The host has received 50 points of fire energy, 50 points of water energy, 40 points of earth energy, 80 points of gold energy, 40 points of wind energy, 40 points of light energy, and 50 points of dark energy. The system screen kept popping up. Although Lin Chen's battle chi cultivation didn't increase, his 9 elemental attributes kept surging. He couldn't stop at all. 8,000 points, 9,000 points, 10,000 points. When Lin Chen's 9 attributes had all broken through 10,000 points, his 9 tribulations battle chi had undergone an astonishing transformation. His entire body shone with 9-colored light. This is... my apocalypse battle form has leveled up? Lin Chen was surprised. The higher the elemental attributes, the stronger his apocalypse battle form would be, and the more battle chi his fate wheel could contain. He is indeed an unprecedented good seedling. He has persisted for so long without any rejection. The blue-eyed Azure's eyes became brighter and brighter. When Lin Chen's 9 elemental attributes all soared to 15,000 points, Lin Chen began to feel a sharp pain. When they broke through 21,000 points, Lin Chen's body began to bleed. That was the body of an emperor. What's this? Lin Chen subconsciously activated his battle chi fate wheel. When the 9 types of apocalypse battle form were activated, the 9 types of apocalypse battle chi began to merge. Suddenly, the blue-eyed Azure's expression changed slightly. He reached out his hand and grabbed at the air, pulling Lin Chen out of the cauldron pool. 10 hours. You're amazing. I thought you could only persist for 1 hour at most. What kind of freak are you? The blue-eyed Azure, whose body was gradually becoming transparent, looked at Lin Chen in amazement and shook his head as if he had discovered a new continent. What a pity. If my cultivation was a little stronger, I might be able to persist for a little longer. Lin Chen sighed. What a pity. This is so King awesome. 9 mid-level elements worth more than 21,000 points. After overcoming so many difficulties, Lin Chen, who had many Imperial exterminators, only had an average of 6,000 points for each element. Now, he had gained more than 10,000 points from the cauldron pool, and all 9 elements were at the same time. This was simply a treasure pool. Okay, stop joking. When I was still alive, I could only persist for 15 minutes. You should be satisfied. The blue-eyed Azure couldn't help but laugh. Lin Chen rolled up his sleeves and grinned. Can't help it. As a person, other than being handsome and lasting for a long time, I really don't have any other good points. Put your weapon inside, and then walk to the stone tablet. The stone tablet has many of the Azure clan's secret techniques recorded on it. However, the stone tablet will only give you a suitable technique based on your physique and the technique you practice. This thing is completely dependent on luck and cannot be forced. The blue-eyed Azure pointed to a 1,000-jong tall stone tablet at the end of the palace. The tablet was engraved with runes that looked like dragons, recording the Azure race's history and history. Put my weapons in? Lin Chen thought for a moment, and his eyes lit up. With a wave of his hand, 5 top-notch weapons were thrown into the cauldron pool. They were Gold Silk Silver Emperor Armor, Myriad Star Thunder Fury Bow, Nethermoon Heavenly Saber, White Frost Green Rainbow Sword, and the 5 Dragons Imperial Spear that Lin Chen used all year round. As the 5 top-notch weapons entered the cauldron pool, a blurry blue mist was sucked in. The blue pool water condensed by the Azure's battle chi began to rise. All the weapons were tempered by the Azure's battle chi. Ordinary weapons, unless they were originally high-grade weapons that were damaged, would find it extremely difficult to upgrade their grade after they were completed. However, the Azura's battle chi could temper a weapon's killing intent, which was equivalent to increasing the weapon's spirituality. It could increase the quality of a low-grade weapon, thus allowing it to break through the limits of growth. Lin Shen walked to the front of the Azura stone tablet. What kind of ultimate technique would the Azura race give him this time? Or would they not give him anything? Chapter 567. Lin Shen placed his palm on the stone tablet and activated his mental cultivation method. The stone tablet trembled slightly. Boom! Boom! An ancient and desolate murderous aura surged out from the stone tablet. It was like thousands of sharp blades were slashing towards Lin Shen. From the top of Lin Shen's head down, it spread throughout his entire body. Squinting his eyes, Lin Shen's shoulders shook, and a terrifying killing intent swept through the imperial palace. The inheritance stone tablet is taking the initiative to test him. The blue-eyed Azura frowned and stared at Lin Shen seriously. This tug-of-war seemed to have lasted for a long time. Half a month had passed in the outside world. In this half a month, the Azura origin battle chi from the ancient cauldron pool had been completely absorbed by Lin Shen's 5 great weapons. Collectively, they had all evolved. The 4 great weapons had all advanced to the 7th level of high-grade, low-grade. The 5 Dragons' Imperial Spear had even entered the 7th level of high-grade, high-grade, high-grade. On the 16th day, the desolate killing intent suddenly weakened, and a ring of light began to descend, as if it was measuring Lin Shen. He has obtained the inheritance stone tablet's approval. I just don't know what rank this brat will obtain. The blue-eyed Azura was excited. He saw a pattern rise up from the stone tablet, and the Azura's stone tablet lit up with a green light. Green rank? No, it should be more than that. The blue-eyed Azura's heart trembled as he stared at the light pattern. The light was like a dancing dragon, rushing all the way to the top of the stone tablet. The light emitted went from green to green, from green to blue, and finally to the peak of purple, straight to the top. Finally, there was no light. What? Unranked? The blue-eyed Azura was stunned. But at this time, a stream of information flowed into Lin Shen's mind. The 6th and 7th level of the Azura 9 Brilliance Transformations Inheritance. The last 2 transformations have been lost in the history of the Azura world. Lin Shen's expression instantly became ecstatic. It was actually the Azura 9 Brilliance Transformations. This tierless technique was incomplete and only had 5 transformations. To Lin Shen, it was as important as the trump card purple tier talent, ultimate moment. Now, he had actually obtained the inheritance of the 6th and 7th transformations. The further one progressed, the more terrifying the amplification effect would be. Good news and bad news at the same time. The last 2 transformations have actually been lost in the history of the Azura world. I'm afraid that they have already become a cultivation technique that will be difficult to complete in my lifetime. However, with these 7 transformations, my strength has increased by a large margin. A large amount of inherited memories poured into his spiritual sea, and Lin Shen received them all. Moreover, this time it was a memory inheritance, not a direct learning. The system consumed 9,800 intermediate cultivation technique soul essences, and in just half a day, Lin Shen perfectly received them all. Phew! Even though I have the body of a war emperor, I still have to think twice before using the 6th-stage transformation, not to mention the 7th-stage transformation and the damage it brings to my body. After inheriting the 9 brilliance transformations, Lin Shen smacked his lips and opened the system panel. Heavenly Tao Possession System version 5.0 Host Lin Shen Cultivation Intermediate 1st Level War Emperor Realm Intermediate Battle Chi Essence 7,664,400 points. Limit 104,000 Dragon Power Intermediate Chi and Blood 7,688,500 points. Intermediate Spiritual Power 2,175 points. Peak Transcendence Realm. Intermediate Cultivation Technique Soul Essences, 95,800 points. Intermediate Rune Energy, 112,300 points. Heavenly Tao Points, 195,540 points. Innate Points, 165,510 points. Intermediate Elemental Energy, 21,050 points for Fire Element, 21,090 points for Earth Element, 21,098 points for Wood Element, 23,375 points for Metal Element, 22358 points for Water Element, 21750 points for Lightning Element, 21880 points for Wind Element, 21550 points for Light Element, 219,600 points for Dark Element. Cultivation Technique Status Column, Open. Bloodline Status Column, Open. Passive Innate Skill. Green rank. Reinforced Iron Bones 100%. Blue rank. Health Increase 150%. Blue rank. Divine Force 25%. Blue rank. Emperor Slayer. Active Innate Skill. Blue rank. Thieving Omen. Purple rank. Ultimate Moment. Purple rank. Ultimate Return. Purple rank. Sovereign's Descent can be activated. Blue rank. Superdimensional Teleportation. Blue rank. Fatal Bloodthirsty Fragment 1/3. Attribute Rune. Slow level 5. Penetration level 4. Charge level 5. Phantom level 5. Blank Attribute. 1,000 points. Can be converted to any attribute at will. Treasures. Lin Shun immediately locked onto the new blank attribute. It can be converted to any other attribute at will. That's too heaven-defying. System. Can the blank attribute be converted to spiritual power? Yes. The blank attribute can be converted to any attribute, including the new attribute that appears when the host updates the system. Is the host sure you want to convert the blank attribute to intermediate spiritual power? Yes. Out of the 1,000 points of attribute points, if one were to talk about the best value to performance ratio, it would be mental power. Lin Shen's current attributes were only worth converting the blank attribute to elemental attribute and spiritual power. This type of attribute was simply too difficult to obtain. System received. 1,000 blank attribute points have been converted to intermediate spiritual power. Boom! Spiritual power poured into Lin Shen's spiritual consciousness, and his thousands of spiritual seeds grew crazily. Finally, when there were over 10,000 spiritual seeds, all of them condensed into a bridge that went straight to the sky. This bridge led to the end of the spiritual consciousness, but it was not complete yet. It was not even 1/10 of the complete form. This is the spiritual bridge. As long as I condense a complete spiritual bridge, my spiritual power will be at the Heaven Ascension realm. Even if my spiritual power encounters a calamity, I will be able to withstand it. Lin Shen narrowed his eyes. They were both at the perfected Dharma characteristic realm, but he still had a long way to go. Although he had the Rainbow Sacred Source, it was best used when breaking through a bottleneck. He had not reached this bottleneck yet. After exiting the system, Lin Shen looked around the Imperial Palace again. A ray of sunlight seeped in. That blue-eyed Azura had long disappeared. Everything seemed like a dream, but the reality of the battle was engraved in Lin Shen's bones. He remained silent, clasped his hands together, and bowed solemnly to the Azura stone tablet. With a wave of his hand, 5 brand new weapons flew back to Lin Shen's hands. All of them have broken through to Advanced Stage 7. The Azura Origin Battle Aura is indeed amazing. Lin Shen put on the gold-threaded silver Emperor armor, put away his sword and bow, and changed into a brand new silver robe. With a spear on his back, he left the Imperial Palace. Outside the palace, the primordial azure dragon was nervous. Crack, crack, bang. All of a sudden, the spatial chains above its head shattered. The spatial chains have been broken. The inheritance is successful. The primordial azure dragon roared excitedly. The silver-robed youth walked out of the tomb palace with a smile. Why, Brother Azure Dragon has regained freedom. Kid, thank you. I finally... Your aura. The primordial azure dragon's eyes narrowed as it stared at Lin Shun. It actually sensed a dangerous aura from this young battle emperor that it had never seen before. Chapter 568. Lin Shun looked at his dragon emperor. In the past 9 months, the dragon emperor had risen from the ashes, accumulated energy, and was reborn from the ashes. Now, it was only a step away from the middle of the Seventh Order. 390,000 dragon veins had been opened. Pure strength. 9 million dragon force points. I'm afraid it won't be a problem to fight an early 4th grade combat emperor. Lin Shun smiled and was very satisfied. After entering the Azura's 9 tombs, his strength had undergone an earth-shaking change. Brother Azure Dragon, do you want to come with us? At this time, the Dragon Emperor roared. It was Lin Shun who was controlling it to speak. If you don't have any plans, why don't you come with us? After all, we have too many enemies and we are always lacking in strength. Lin Shun looked at the ancient Azure Dragon. The Dragon Emperor continued. That's right. I still have a lot of enemies to deal with. Sai, I don't know if I will be so lucky next time and be able to enter the state of Nirvana rebirth. The ancient Azure Dragon was a big guy. If he could get it as a partner, it would definitely be a super strong combat strength. All right, I have nothing to do anyway. I have been trapped here for 100,000 years. My old comrades have died in battle or died of old age. Why don't I just go out with you and turn the world upside down? Success. Lin Shun was ecstatic. With its help, as long as they didn't encounter a late 6th grade combat emperor, Lin Shun's team would be able to do whatever they wanted in Firmament Tower's 2nd to 4th main cities. They would be able to do whatever they wanted. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that they were invincible. Ha ha ha. May I know your name? I have forgotten my name. Master has always called me Long Kuan. You can call me Brother Kuan. Good name. The word Kuan is majestic and majestic. Adding a dragon in front of it is awesome. Then let's go. Outside the tomb, Long Qi and the other 2 were sitting cross-legged in the void. Although they were resting with their eyes closed, their consciousness and battle Qi were constantly observing the tomb below. There is a movement in the tomb. It should be that kid coming out. F*CK. F*CK him up. The 3 late 5th layer combat emperor's battle Qi flashed and turned into 3 streaks of light, each occupying a different direction and surrounding the tomb. Seeing the 3 of them taking action, the dozen or so veteran battle emperors who were lurking in the dark suddenly became alert. They opened their eyes one after another, keeping a vigilant distance while observing the 3 of them. That brat's movement technique is incredible. In order to prevent him from escaping, let's join hands and seal the space. Yes, before he comes out. The 3 of them looked at each other and moved their fingers in the air. Layers of spatial ripples spread out and then suddenly trembled, forming an extremely stable spatial barrier. The space barrier was triangular in shape, and it sealed off an area of over 900,000 miles. This was a spatial seal created by 3 late 5th level combat emperors. Unless one was a 6th level combat emperor or above, it would be extremely difficult to break this spatial seal. The 3 of them didn't hesitate to consume a large amount of battle Qi to activate the space seal. It seems that they have caught a big fish. Let's take a look again. I have a bad feeling, bang. The sound of an explosion rang out, followed by the young man's hearty laughter. He's finally out. I'm starving. I'm going to eat a Manchu Han imperial feast. Seeing the familiar silhouette of the young man in the silver robe, Long Qi's eyes were filled with anger as he laughed sinisterly. You still want to eat? F*CKU Lin Shun. This time, even the gods won't be able to save you. Lin Shun was startled. As he looked around, he activated his purple golden pupils and discovered all the combat emperors who were hiding in the void. I know I'm handsome, but you don't have to make such a big scene to welcome me, right? Lin Shun laughed. His eyes flashed with a monstrous battle intent and excitement. F*CK. These were all attribute light balls. Since they had delivered themselves to his doorstep, how could Lin Shun reject them? Die! Long Chi's palm pressed down angrily. The earth-shattering golden battle, Chi, turned into a dragon seal that covered the sky and the sun, suppressing Lin Shun. Fourfold transformation. Dark Dragon Palm. Lin Shen's body turned into moonlight as he activated the charging rune. 9 dragon patterns appeared on his palm, and the dark tribulation energy coiled like a dragon as he slammed his palm towards the sky. With a bang, the sky rumbled. The dark dragon energy twisted and penetrated, shattering the golden dragon seal. Lin Shun retreated 100 steps, breaking the spatial crystal wall. His chi and blood churned as he wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. The sky was filled with golden fragments that scattered and scattered, reflecting the shock and disbelief on Long Chi's and the other two's faces. This was an attack from a late 5th layer warrior. Early 2nd layer combat emperor, body refinement emperor. Long Chi was shocked and lost his voice. When they exchanged blows, the opponent's aura leaked out. Although he had temporarily advanced by activating the secret technique, this kid had actually reached the 2nd layer combat emperor. Lin Shen looked up to the sky and laughed loudly. He took out an item. Correct. I'll reward you with a little green hat. After saying that, he swung his palm and a green hat that shone with a green color flew towards Long Chi's direction. His face instantly turned into the color of a pig's liver. His 5 fingers grabbed the air and crushed the green hat. It was at this moment of distraction that a purple flame of moonlight pierced through the void and appeared behind him. Damn, what kind of movement skill is this? Long Chi subconsciously exclaimed. His 5 fingers formed into a claw and suddenly reached out to grab Lin Shun. 5 red claw marks appeared in the void. Wherever they passed, the space collapsed and turned into a vacuum. Don't ask. If you ask, I'll King turn you upside down. Lin Shun pointed out a finger and charged it with energy. A 7-colored desolate energy finger broke through the air and appeared. It blasted towards Long Chi at close range. The power of this finger was 60% of Lin Chen's 8 desolate finger when he activated the God Slayer. Rumble. The 7-colored desolate energy formed a mushroom cloud that rose into the sky. This kind of terrifying power even made the many combat emperors who were watching the battle look askance. Even a late 4th layer combat emperor would lose a layer of skin if he were to take this attack at close range. One had to know that Lin Shen's current elemental attribute was more than 20,000 points. His 9 calamity battle aura was ridiculously strong. Rip. The mushroom cloud formed by the energy storm was torn apart in an instant. Another 7-colored desolate energy finger fell from the sky. Bang! An explosion that was 10 times more powerful than a nuclear explosion resounded through the sky. A chain attack? Lin Shun, who had already retreated tens of thousands of miles away, still had a figure standing beside him. It was his phantom doppelganger. I didn't expect that the increase in the Combat Emperor realm would be so difficult to reach. After increasing the attribute value to 20,000 points, the 4 transformation of the Calamity Battle aura barely reached the early 2nd layer. Lin Shun clicked his tongue in wonder. The Combat Emperor realm and the Yuan Venerate realm were indeed 2 different levels. What a terrifying move. Damn it. Now is not the time to be amazed. Help Long Chi and destroy that kid. Just as the green-robed combat emperor and the gray-robed old man were about to take action, a desolate and brutal aura locked onto them, making their hair stand on end. Roar. The angry roar tore through the sky. The dragon claw tore through the sky like lightning. The moon-scooping net destroyed the 2 combat emperors. Is it that weird green dragon? Even it has come out? F***CK. I thought it couldn't come out. The 2 combat emperors' expressions changed drastically. They cursed in exasperation. As they retreated, the dragon claw chased after them and tore through the sky. The 2 combat emperors gritted their teeth. The wind and clouds suddenly changed. Billowing battle aura was like the birth of a dragon. As it gathered in their arms, The two combat emperors smashed their fists on the crystal walls of the space, causing the sky to tremble and temporarily stopping the dragon claw. Brother Kuan, I'll leave the two trash over there to you. Lin Chun waved his hand and laughed. The laughter of the primordial green dragon spread across the sky. No problem. I'll beat the shit out of them this time. Chapter 569. Long Kuan's killing intent soared to the sky as he flapped his purple phoenix wings. The green-robed combat emperor and the gray-robed old man were forced to be on guard. Even if this big guy did not activate his bloodline power, it would be difficult for any of them to stop him. The reason was that Long Kuan was a combination of the purple phoenix and the green dragon's bloodline. He had a terrifying speed that other 10,000-year black-green dragons did not have. Coupled with his pure strength and defense, it was a perfect combination. Both of you, please delay this green dragon. Long Qi will take care of the other guy. Long Qi's voice transmission stunned the two of them. However, they were soon engaged in a fierce battle with Long Kuan. Since Long Qi was confident, they would focus on delaying this big guy. You are indeed dangerous. It hasn't even been a year, and you have really stepped into the combat emperor realm. If you can't come up with the same external force as last time, no one will be able to save you. Long Qi sneered coldly. Lin Shun had been confident since the beginning, and he was excited to test his own strength. Everyone, you've been hiding for so long. It's time to come out. At this time, Long Qi's figure retreated rapidly as he shouted loudly. I swear on my ranking on the Combat Emperor leaderboard that if anyone can help me kill this guy, we will split 500,000 firmament coins. 500,000! All the Combat Emperors who were hiding in the dark were tempted by the offer. Even Long Qi would have to work hard for decades, or even hundreds of years to come up with such a number of firmament coins. His desire to kill Lin Chun was obvious. I thought you had some trump cards. It turns out that you are still using this old trick. Lin Chun shook his head and laughed. Long Qi swallowed a pill and sneered. Kid, connections and reputation are important in the Firmament Tower. Old tricks don't matter as long as they work. As soon as he finished speaking, 3 combat emperors stepped out. They were from main city number 3. One of them was in the late stage of LV3, and the other 2 were in the early stage of LV4. Hee, I can get such a handsome reward for just one attack. Count me in. Another fat man in the middle stage of LV4 appeared in the air. His smile hid a murderous intent. He was a smiling tiger. Rumble. A spear light streaked across the sky, cutting open a bottomless abyss. Lin Chun, will only say this once. Those who cross this line will be my enemy. If you want to die, come at me. Lin Chun's brows furrowed as he shouted coldly. Those veteran battle emperors were unmoved. They had all been on the tip of a blade before. Since they dared to stand out, they had no intention of retreating. For people? Then I'll take them. There are 5 of them, and each of them will get 100,000 firmament dollars. Brat, consider yourself unlucky to have offended Long Qi. Another mid-4th level combat emperor. Moreover, this person had a sword on his back that was extremely sharp. He was a sword emperor from city number 3. The sword emperor, a combat emperor who specialized in swordsmanship. This kind of opponent was much more threatening than other combat emperors of the same level. Those combat emperors who were hiding in the dark didn't dare to act blindly without thinking. Most of them were below the 4th level of the combat emperor realm. At this moment, there were 4 more 4th level combat emperors in the battlefield. Right now, whoever made a move might be attacked by the crowd. Now, let's see who has more people. Ha ha! Long Qi laughed sinisterly as he crushed a blood-red jade pendant with his 5 fingers. The billowing blood flame energy was like a heavenly river intertwining with each other, forming 1,000 zhang tall energy pillar that merged into his body. This is the blood demon forbidden jade that Long Qi found in the ruins of the demon tribe. So ruthless. Using this thing, I'm afraid that his cultivation won't improve for thousands of years. If he doesn't do it well, his cultivation might even regress. Long Chi is really going to kill this brat. The gray-robed elder and the green-robed combat emperor were shocked as they fought with Long Kun. Is he going to activate his bloodline? However, seeing that my brother is still hiding in that brat's body and looking at his expression, he seems to be confident. Forget it. Let's just leave it to him and wait and see. Blood bubbles kept appearing on his skin and face. At this moment, Long Chi looked like a blood man. It was extremely horrifying. His aura had increased to the limit of the 5th level of the Combat Emperor realm. There was a sign that he could break through to the 6th level of the Combat Emperor realm at any time. Lin Shen's expression was still as carefree as ever. There was even a trace of arrogance, overflowing with cold laughter. Long Chi laughed crazily. It doesn't matter if you still have the external force from last time. Today, you will definitely die. Even if there are more of us, I will still kill you. As soon as his laughter ended, he clapped his hands together. The 10,000 Zhang blood hand that was surging with blood and chi attacked Lin Shun with both hands. Attack! 1,000 Cold Knight, Jian Foam, Tian. The white-robed sword emperor from the 3rd main city took the initiative to attack. He aimed at Lin Shen's doppelganger with his inch-strike sword and slashed forward like a snowflake. It was like a horizontal snowflake. The momentum wasn't strong, but it had the sharpness to cut open the earth. The other 4 people used their divine abilities. They were paid to eliminate the disaster for others. They were all old foxes who had lived for many years. It was impossible for them to underestimate Lin Shun. To be able to make Long Chi pay such a high price and force him to use his trump card, this young man was definitely not a simple person. In just one exchange, everyone used their true strength. More people? It's my side that has more people. Lin Shun angrily shouted, 6 transformations, ultimate moment. Doppelganger, Dragon Emperor, attack. Shua, 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 shua. 3 doppelganger and 1 Dragon Emperor instantly descended from the sky above the Azura tomb. Drawing the bow, drawing the sword, brandishing the blade. Dragon Emperor's breath was completed in 1 breath. 8 desolate finger, blazing afterglow. Extreme night judgment, dark lightning leaf. 10,000-year dragon light blade. Fighting Emperor 57 style, blazing wheel. An 8-colored finger of desolate energy appeared. White frost and green rainbow, sword slashed diagonally. A blazing sword light, like the first rays of dawn rising from the east. A streak of lightning flashed past the dark light. Faint shadows of dark leaves fluttered in the air. When one saw the shadows of the leaves, the arrow had already pierced through the sky. The blade energy slashed open the sky. Wherever it passed, everything was sucked dry. Even light couldn't escape the terrifying suction of the dark blade energy. The green dragon blade danced like snowflakes. Fire, lightning, and light calamity battle chi formed a huge wheel of spears that spun furiously and collided with the bloody palm imprints on both sides. Bang, 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 chi, rumble. The attacks from both sides were like 2 huge meteors colliding. The earth-shattering battle chi exploded and turned into hundreds and thousands of energy tornadoes that wreaked havoc. The space barrier of the 9 Azura tombs was disturbed by the shock wave of the collision. It was activated again, protecting the surroundings of the tomb. Some of the combat emperors who were watching the battle were blown away by the shock wave. They retreated inch by inch and were all dumbfounded. They were stunned on the spot, their faces filled with disbelief. What the F*CK just happened? All of a sudden, 3 doppelganger and a 10,000-year green dragon emperor appeared out of nowhere. My hand, my arm. The weakest 3rd-level combat emperor screamed miserably. Both of his arms were missing and blood spurted out wildly. He hurriedly stopped the bleeding and quickly retreated. His eyes were filled with fear and terror. His previous attack was broken by the terrifying blade energy. The remaining aura of the blade energy was like a black hole. The suction force it emitted was so strong that even he couldn't avoid it completely. Both of his arms were directly crushed. It was too terrifying. He had never seen such a monstrous second-level combat emperor. This King god's descendant from the easternmost region was a monster. Even if he had broken through to the combat emperor realm, he wasn't even qualified to carry his shoes. Chapter 570. What kind of joke is this? Where did this brat get his strength from? Could it be that he can still use that external force? Impossible. Such a strong attack. Even if he uses that external force, he can't completely block it. Long Chi's bloodthirsty eyes flickered with uncertainty. He released his battle aura and searched for Lin Shun in the center of the energy storm. If such a powerful collision occurred in the outside world, it would be able to tear apart a small continental plate. 5 people and 1 dragon appeared at a height of 1,000,000 m in the sky. These 5 people were all Lin Shun. Their bodies were emitting a green brilliance, and they were extraordinarily handsome. Some of them had their arms crossed in front of their chests, looking relaxed. Some of them were standing with sabers in their hands, and saber energy was rising from their bodies. Some of them were standing against the wind, holding their sheaths and swords. Their swords were flowing with sword energy, and their faces were cold and aloof, like peerless swordsmen. The 4th person's short hair was fluttering in the wind, and his robe was fluttering in the wind. He held the thunder bow in his hand, and his eyes were sharp, with a purple-gold light flowing between his pupils. The leading figure had the pentacolored dragon spear in his hand, and he was almost unharmed. All of them were in the middle stage of the 2nd tier. All of them had a dragon power of 1.3 million. Quietly, Lin Shun circulated the wood spirit essence magic to recover his blood and chi, which had been shaken up by the blood and chi energy. He let out a sigh of relief as he felt a slight pain in his arm, as expected of an attack at the peak of the 5th tier. If it wasn't for the upgrade of the spear and the 100-spear fighting emperor, I might not have been able to block that attack. 6 transformations and ultimate moment. High-grade 7th rank artifact. High-grade purple rank spear art. Level 5 charge rune and penetration rune. With so many trump cards combined into one move, Lin Shun was barely able to receive Dragon Chi's attack. Fortunately, before I came out, I spent all my cultivation technique soul essences to learn Eternal Night Judgment and Blazing Blue Rainbow, the 2 intermediate purple rank combat skills. Otherwise, I wouldn't have any combat skills to fight against these old foxes. System. Activate Ultimate Restoration. Consumed 15,000 talent points to activate Ultimate Restoration. All the battle auras of the host and his clone have been replenished. Damn, advancing to the War Emperor level is so expensive. Let's end this quickly. Lin Shun flapped his purple phoenix wings, activated his movement technique, and swept to Dragon Chariot, taking the initiative to attack. You're courting death. Long Chi was enraged. Blood energy surged from his body as he pulled out a blood saber and slashed it at Lin Shun. Blood energy burst out, splitting heaven and earth. Do Huang's 65 style, Azura soul severing. The spear broke the galaxy, and a vast Azura phantom appeared above Lin Chen's head. It swung the giant spear down furiously, tearing apart a bright half-moon divine radiance that was as bright as a waterfall. The 2 of them instantly exchanged blows, but Lin Shun did not gain the upper hand. Instead, he was gradually pushed back. At one point, he relied on the purple phoenix wings, movement techniques, and the purple golden pupil to predict a few movements to tangle with Long Chi Rip. At the same time, the 4 clones turned into moonlight and dashed toward the 4 combat emperors. The 4 people's expressions changed slightly. They had already fully experienced the strength of these 4 clones. They had to fight with all their might. Roar! The Dragon Emperor unleashed his purple phoenix wings and charged towards the late 3rd stage combat emperor. He was so shocked that his expression changed abruptly. Black Azure Dragon Domain. He released a domain of green light and dragon chi, greatly suppressing the combat emperor's movements. Who's going to help me? I will give my share of the reward to him. The one-armed combat emperor looked at the void in the direction of the battle in panic. No one dared to respond to him. Dare my ass. This King brat is a monster. The strength of a mid-second stage combat emperor was close to that of a fifth stage combat emperor. None of the clones' strength was weaker than a fourth stage combat emperor. Originally, they thought that it would be a stable battle. Who would have thought that it would usher in such a dramatic reversal and turn into an evenly matched death match? It was best not to make a move at this time. If they stood on the wrong side and the opponent counterattacked, no one knew if they would be the one to die. In the Black Azure Dragon domain, the Dragon Chi was like an all-pervasive force that suppressed his movements. The one-armed combat emperor retreated again and again. However, his speed was no match for the Dragon Emperor. Lin Shen's Dragon Emperor's Purple Phoenix bloodline was purer than Long Cohen's. The only difference was their cultivation level. The Azure Dragon swung its tail and flapped its Purple Phoenix wings furiously. With the dragon roaming technique and the Purple Phoenix wings, the majestic dragon body appeared and disappeared unpredictably. It turned into a few distorted dragon lights and flashed dozens of times. The dragon claws slashed wildly. Bang, 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 rip. Again and again, the attack hit the one-armed combat emperor's battle chi defense, forcing him to use his life-saving trump card again and again. Oh no. If this goes on, I will be killed by this dragon emperor. What should I do? These guys don't plan to make a move. Am I supposed to self-destruct? The one-armed combat emperor took hundreds of steps, each step accompanied by green light and wild wind. He moved thousands of miles in the void. The dragon emperor's speed was close behind, and the explosive attacks made him even more terrified. The azure light dragon blade slashed down like a crescent moon. The one-armed combat emperor's purple shadow snake pinned and exploded into pieces. A life-saving 7th-tier artifact had been destroyed here. Damn it, I will fight you. Before he could finish, tens of thousands of green light blades danced like snowflakes, attacking the one-armed combat emperor. Pooh, pooh, pooh. The battle chi defense that enveloped his body was easily penetrated like fruit skin meeting a sharp blade. It was cut into countless pieces, and even his body began to break apart. Hundreds of attribute light balls rolled out from his body and floated in the void, colorful and dazzling. Roar! The Dragon Emperor opened his mouth and swallowed the one-armed combat emperor in one gulp. He died without a complete corpse. This scene shocked all the experts who were watching the battle. A late third-level combat emperor had fallen in less than 15 minutes. His arms were crippled by Lin Shen at the beginning, and he lost his main battle power. Then, he was chased by the Dragon Emperor. The current Dragon Emperor's overall strength was comparable to a 4th-level combat emperor. The price of killing this combat emperor was that the Dragon Emperor only suffered some light injuries. The 10,000-year profound Azure Dragon's defense was immediate. Coupled with the true flame Purple Phoenix's speed, the other party did not even have time to make up his mind to self-destruct. After swallowing the one-armed combat emperor, his body turned into majestic energy and was refined into the dragon body. The dragon vein continued to soar, and those attribute light balls were all taken away by the Dragon Emperor. Host received 8,800 talent points, 7,550 Heaven's Path points, 50 blank attribute points, 385 wind energy, 12,500 rune energy. Opened 3 purple crystal treasure chests. Received 10 rune evolution stones, 50,000 talent points, 500 blank attribute points. The fall of this 3rd-level combat emperor had replenished Lin Shen's innate points and rune energy in a timely manner during the battle. Purple lightning, 10,000 lightning. He drew his bow and shot continuously. The arrows intertwined with light and thunder calamity battle chi turned into 100 mu large spiral storm, twisting countless lightning arrows as they shot forward. Chapter 571. The yellow-robed fatty jumped nimbly, and his afterimage was like a shooting star. He jumped 2,000 miles away, avoiding the storm of arrows. Before he could react, a moon-like sword light swept past. Rip! The fatty war emperor controlled his battle chi, and his figure flashed as he wiped off his cold sweat. This attack was too strange. The four combat emperors were fighting on their own, but Lin Shen's four clones had a tacit understanding of each other. Even if they couldn't hit the target in front of them, the aftershock of their attacks would be able to support or assist the battle on the other side. Clang! 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 The arrows collided with the sword, and the white-robed sword emperor quickly drew his sword, shattering the approaching arrows again and again. Although these arrows couldn't cause any substantial damage to him, they were able to disrupt his battle rhythm. The purple radiant's 10,000 lightning arrow, which had countless lightning arrows revolving around it, didn't hit the fat war emperor. Instead, it supported the sword emperor's clone, who was engaged in a bitter battle. A 7th-level high-grade saber weapon, very strong. A grade that even I have not touched. Your saber art is also the strongest among the young saber emperors that I have fought for many years. The white-robed sword emperor's eyes flickered, and his battle intent was awe-inspiring. His whole body was surging with battle chi. In terms of pure strength, his battle power was not inferior to the late stage of the 4th stage. It would be difficult for Lin Shen's clone to block him. However, Lin Shen's clone didn't know why he was timid. The Nethermoon heavenly sword in his hand slashed again, and 10 dark saber scars split the sky, sword shaking the 9 heavens. The sword flickered, and the tip of the sword decorated the sky like a dragonfly skimming the surface of the water. The white rainbow, sword light flashed in the shape of lightning, and split the dark saber scars. Rip! Moonlight flashed, and the clone held the Nethermoon heavenly sword tightly and slashed horizontally at the sword emperor. The sword turned around, and the sword emperor raised the 3 chi long sword and slashed vertically. Clang! The sword light surged, and when it blocked the horizontal slash, the white-robed sword emperor's body turned around like a swimming dragon. At the same time, he took a step back, and at the same time, he held the sword with both hands and condensed his chi. Sword dragon crush. The sword emperor, whose whole body was circulating with sharp sword chi, instantly soared to the sky. Then, he pushed the sword forward with both hands and abruptly thrust forward in a straight line. The sword light that shot out was like a rainbow piercing through the sky. Judgment's soul severing. The saber wind danced in the air, and countless wind calamity and dark calamity battle chi disrupted the wind and clouds. They turned into saber chi that could devour light and converged into a sky-reaching tornado. It gradually shattered the shocking rainbow sword light. The battle between the two of them became more and more intense, becoming the most intense battle, second only to the one between Lin Shen and himself. Clang! The silver-robed figure was fighting with his sword. His white jade sword, which was surrounded by frost rainbow energy, kept pushing back a black-robed war emperor with sharp eyebrows and fierce eyes. Blood was starting to flow out from the corner of his mouth. With his cultivation at the early stage of the 4th level, he was actually not a match for this brat in terms of combat skills. In addition, his vitality was abnormally tenacious. Coupled with his wood-type recovery secret art, it was as if the flames of war could not burn him down, and the wood spirit would come back to life again. The most frightening thing was that this young man was able to instantly recover all of his depleted battle chi at the most critical moment. His many strange tricks had already made this battle emperor, who had been famous for over 10,000 years, want to retreat. Rip! Boom! When the dragon domain was formed, the azure dragon flapped its purple wings and appeared like lightning. When it waved its dragon claws, the black-robed war emperor's expression changed drastically. Not good. The myriad mystic light blade, which was as heavy as the sun and moon, exploded at close range and fell on his chest. 10th style of blazing glory, azure moon slash. Holding the sword with both hands, the white jade green sword slashed out, and a spiraling sword light spun rapidly like a spring. From afar, it looked like a spinning azure moon, crushing toward the black-robed war emperor with ease. Boom! The azure moon fell and slashed at the black-robed war emperor, revealing his white bones. He was seriously injured. The doppelganger and the dragon emperor pursued the war emperor, using speed to fight speed. Their momentum rose steadily, completely suppressing the war emperor. In a battle circle at the highest altitude, the blood saber slashed vertically between the spear body, and the saber aura that could shatter the universe surged. Lin Shun held his spear and retreated continuously, his whole body soaked in blood. When Long Qi forced him back, he pursued the Dragon Emperor and forced himself to maintain the ultimate moment. At this moment, Lin Chen's injuries could be said to be tragic. Other than his heart, his internal organs were covered in wounds. More than half of his bones were cracked, and 20% of his meridians were broken. If not for the strong, self-healing ability of a life growth inherent skill and the ultimate moments 4 times amplification of the wood spirit essence technique, this kind of injury would require several years of seclusion to heal. It was impossible to maintain such a high-intensity battle. Damn, the peak of the 5th stage War Emperor is indeed terrifying. The burden of fighting a War Emperor who is 3.5 levels above me is too great. If only I had a doppelganger to share some of the pressure. Otherwise, even the 100 Spears fighting Emperor would not be able to defeat this old bastard. After wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, Lin Shin saw from the corner of his eyes that the black-robed War Emperor was being suppressed by his doppelganger and the Dragon Emperor. In less than a quarter of an hour, they would definitely be able to decide life and death. Lin Shun, I know you are stalling for time. However, why should I care about the life and death of those people? I only know that you are about to die. Ha ha ha. Long Qi laughed like a madman who had lost his mind. Blood-red dragon scales appeared on his arms. He suddenly slashed horizontally, diagonally, vertically, and rapidly slashed dozens of times. The surging blood-red saber aura turned into 100,000 meters long evil dragon that was baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. It attacked Lin Shun from all directions. Fighting Emperor 79 style, Dance of the Dragons. As the golden war spear danced, the rotating 9 tribulations battle chi turned into countless dragon shadow virtual images. In the end, they converged into one point and broke the evil dragon's corner. Bang! Chi! When the evil dragon's corner was broken, a beam of purple moonlight pierced through the void. Just as it avoided the sharpest point, the evil dragon's saber aura revolved around its original position and exploded into dozens of bloody tornadoes. This power is also at the middle purple rank. This guy wants to fight to the death with me. In a flash, Lin Shun reappeared 18,000 miles away. Pale golden blood flowed down his left arm. This was the blood of the fighting emperor. Lin Chen narrowed his eyes. He had used all his strength to perform the fighting emperor 79 style, but he could only tear open a few holes in the many attacks. He had to use his body movement skill to retreat. This kind of power was definitely at the middle purple rank. You run pretty fast. However, the space around you is sealed. Let's see how you can dodge now. Blood-red veins quickly condensed, and a pair of blood wings that were 100 feet long spread out from Long Qi's back. His face began to turn extremely pale, but it was also extremely cold and murderous. I still need some time on my doppelganger's side. This old bastard won't give me a chance. Since that's the case, I can only fight with my life on the line. Ferocious energy surged. Lin Chen's expression was like a lone wolf facing death. He used ultimate restoration to replenish all his battle chi. With his cultivation level at the peak of rank 5, if his opponent wanted to fight with his life on the line, he could only use the last 20 moves of the 100 Spear fighting emperor. Lin Shun could barely control the last 20 moves with his cultivation level. If he was careless, he would hurt himself before killing his opponent. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.